So, welcome everybody. This is Bevs with Ben with our special guest Skyy. Skyy from the Comeback Kids, one of the coolest content creators I've seen on the platform recently. Like, your YouTube is absolutely insane.
Thank
So,
you.
why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man?
Um, man, a lot. I guess I started gaming when I was about 5, 6, 7 years old, just picking up anything I could possibly, pick up, whether it be a little Game Boy, a Nintendo, whatever it may be. I mean, I've always loved games, and then eventually, about 8 or 9 years old, I was actually introduced to a game. Me and my younger brother, we were introduced to a game from our older brother. He was maybe 16, 17 at the time, just like you. And he introduced us to a game called World of Warcraft. And
Obscure
man, you
game. Obscure.
you you show a kid that doesn't know anything about gaming or anything World of Warcraft when he's 8 or 9 years old. I am so happy I grew up on that rather than like Minecraft or Fortnite. And I'm not destroying any of those games. I'm just saying I am so happy I grew up experiencing WoW rather than any of that stuff. And it from there it took off, man. I fell in love with the whole RPG space, the high fantasy, the humans and different creatures and races and classes and zones and to explore. And it was, I'm sure, like everyone here or everyone, it was an escape to get away from the craziness of life, whether it be home issues, school, bullies,
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was an escape, and me and my brother, we took to that, and we took it and ran, and we loved it ever since. And then eventually out of high school, I started working doing editing and animation as a real life, job, career. And my brother, he was like, "Yeah, why don't you make content? I mean, you love video editing, you love animation, you love doing this stuff. Like, why don't we start it?" And I was a bit nervous about it. I was like, I don't know if people would even enjoy seeing someone like me on, doing whatever the hell it is I'm doing. So then we were like, okay, let's just plan something. And then we saw that a game called New World was coming out a few years ago. And we were like,
Hmm.
okay, this might be a good start. It's a brand new, fresh MMO. It's a, uncompetitive space. No one's in it. Let's just start making content. Let's make a brand, whatever. And then that, branched off to here and now of just, trying to make content, entertain people, make people happy at the highest quality I possibly can do, whether it be every little cut in an edit or every new animation that I make, dude.
Brody,
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
you're
much
doing
me.
a fantastic job.
that's
And
really good setup as well. The fact
yeah.
that you
Thank
did
you.
like editing and stuff beforehand,
Yeah.
so you got
Yeah,
those kind
yeah,
of
man.
skills, and then have come straight into content creating. That's really
Yeah, it
good.
was it almost felt like it was one of those things where it was, in a way, it was like destiny, man. Like I fell in love with video games at such a young age, and it got me out of some pretty dark times in my life dealing
Mhm.
with some home stuff. And it got me an escape. And then, I ended up being a creative who wanted to express himself doing anything, whether it be, drawing, because I used to draw a lot, or art, or video editing, animation. And then I was like, man, why don't I combine the two? Like, why not? You know what I mean? And it was just like, holy shit. It became like such an eye opening experience. I was like, wow, I could potentially make a career out of this. Like, why not give it a good shot while I'm young and broke and stupid? So why not?
Young, broke, and stupid. Well, bro, you're absolutely smashing it straight off the
Yeah,
bat. So
yeah.
pleasure having you here, by the way.
Thank you,
Yeah,
buddy. Thank
pleasure
you.
having you
I
here.
had one quick question before we get into like the Diablo questions. So you were doing video editing beforehand of like I imagine other people or whatever,
Um,
commissions or stuff like that?
I was actually working on a company with my older brother, the one who introduced me to World of Warcraft,
Mhm.
right out of high school. And he was like, "Hey, man, I have my own production company, whatever. If you want to earn some quick money, you can learn some animation, whatever. I need help." I was like, "Okay, why not?" So it was really just any job that we can get our hands on, whether it be corporate work, whether it be product videos, whether it wasn't had nothing to do with you know, games or anything like that in general.
Right.
It was just straight up real life work, whether it be documentary, film, short films, all that fun
I
stuff.
was gonna ask, what was it like going from like editing other people and editing all that stuff to then recording yourself and
Man,
recording and editing yourself? What was
that's
that like transition like in your head?
a good question, man. And honestly, it got to the point where I was missing all the creativity I once had when I was doing video editing and animation. I remember my last job, I'll never forget. My last job doing I guess regular IRL video editing work. It was on a construction company, and it was about, you know, those little rebars they put in like the cement.
Mhm.
It looks like a giant screw, and it's a rebar, and they're like, hey, we want you to animate a character out of this, and we want you to call him Reggie Rebar, and I was like, and I took a step back. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life.
Sorry.
I'm like, if there's a time to make a change, I'm like, yeah, I'm not earning enough money. I'm working like a dog, and I'm creating Reggie Rebar as an animation. I'm like, something's got to give. I'm like,
You're like,
I gotta go back to the drawing board, you know?
this ain't it,
I'm like,
Reggie.
yeah,
This.
I
no,
gotta go.
Oh my
this
days.
ain't it. I wonder
Oh
if I
man.
still have that video. That'd be interesting.
Shove it on YouTube. But no, show it in the stream. Don't put it on YouTube. Show it on the stream at some point for some lols,
Yeah,
man.
I gotta check that out.
Ben, your camera's a little do one of the hand things. I think it's
Hello?
on my end.
Is it for you? Oh,
But
it's fine for me.
it might be just me. Me and my internet's always great.
Member
That
video.
mountain
Cool.
internet.
But yeah, hi, I'm Ben. By the way, I have a drink.
Yes.
It's really good. By the way, we have
What are you
some. We have
drinking?
some. We have some bourbon. Hold on. We have Gentleman Jack. 'Cause
Oh, I love Gentleman
we're
Jack.
gentlemen here, bro. This is good. It's so good. So
Yeah.
good.
They
But
make a
yeah,
single barrel too.
I wish
Oh.
Lance was here. He's you know, he's more the adult between us two. You know, he always, you know, sort of took care of me and looked out for me at, you know, growing up. Like I remember I was in high school and I didn't have a job, but he was in high school too. He had a job. He would always bring me home food while I would just stay home, play some World of Warcraft, man.
Love that,
He's like
man.
he's the adult. So if he was here, he'd have a nice little drink with you. I'll tell you that much.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Hold on. I'll go grab one
Let's-
myself.
Let's have a
'cause I
drink. You
forgot
gonna
to
get some
grab one.
Hooterade?
No Hooterade.
No
more Hooterade.
Bro, I'll
That's
tell you,
shit.
while he's going to get his drink, Sky, I'll tell you a little story about our first ever podcast, right? Sitting down, I've got a manly drink, right? I've got some like whiskey, I've got some bourbon. I'm having a good time. We're talking about like Diablo and how excited we are for all this, right? Having a drink of this, and he turns up with some Hooterade, an actual thing of Hooterade, right? And I'm like, what the hell? So he starts drinking it, and he's like, this shit is nasty. He starts drinking a bit of that, right?
Hooterade.
Hooterade, I don't know, it's some alcoholic stuff, literally from like Hooters or something that he's got. I think it was even in like a squishy kind of like carton rather than like a can or so. And anyway, so he pours it and he says, this shit is nasty. He's having a bit of that, right? He drinks a bit of it, whatever, he puts it on the side. He goes and grabs another drink for the most part of the stream. He's moved, but where he was before, every so often he'd have a couple of ants running around his room, right? You might see this going. Right, an ant crawls into his drink, into his Hooterade, and just like sits there floating around. And then right at the end of the podcast, he pulls it up and he's like, look, it's an ant. And he started showing people that. What does chat do? Chat says, drink it. Drink it. Drink it.
No.
Yeah. Can you hear, DJ? Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you do?
Drank that shit.
Drank the fucking ant, bro.
That's chat pressure right there, dude. Chat will get you to do anything.
I mean,
I know, right?
I'm 37. That's not the worst thing I've done in my whole life. Let's be real. That's
Shit.
not the worst thing I've drank in my whole life. Let's be real. But yeah, that was literally last weekend was my birthday. And at work, this is the first time it's happened. But they did like a whole thing, and I'm up on stage DJing. I wish I could get the video guys to show you guys. But I don't know if you guys know what blowjob shots are, but they're like Kahlua and whipped cream, and they're disgusting. They're awful.
Wow.
Like it's like dairy, and then it's just I'm lactose intolerant a little bit,
Oh shit.
but they kept bringing them up. It was 14 of these sugary shots, and I swear to God, I've never felt so awful the next day, and then went live. Like it was a miserable experience. Like,
Yeah.
and also they they don't just these aren't just normal shots. They make you put your hands behind your back. It's like the normal tradition for a birthday shot. Put your hands behind your back, and then you like go down and pick the shot glass up
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
mouth, and then drink it, and then you could take it out.
Ew.
It's
Good
Man.
lordy.
So you
an
had
awful.
you had 14 blowjobs, then just went live. Is that what I just got from this
Yeah.
conversation?
I had 14 blowjob shots, sir. Okay, clarify.
Right, fair. Right, okay. Back to off drinks, right? Off
Yeah,
drinks. Even we're all having a good time. Skyy, so where can people find you, bro?
Oh, if you guys want to check out any of the content, we make primarily Diablo 4 content right now on YouTube. You can check us out on The Comeback Kids on YouTube. That's 3 separate words. The Comeback Kids Diablo 4. You can just look that up. Don't look up my name. I'm not that famous yet. We make just content on anything, man. Just builds, guides, bunch of nonsense.
I made a custom command for you. It'll go off on a timer. So I don't know, Ben, if you want to do the same.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll snag it. I'll snatch it from yours. So it's not just you, right? It's you are like the face, right? Because I haven't. Yeah. So you do like all the talking. You're the one on the videos and things.
Lance is like pretty much like a behind the scenes manager, as well as trying to spend some time streaming and making some content. He's just busy, man. He's a busy man. He's a real adult once again. He's taking care of his little brother while I play the video games. You know what I mean? So it's me and my brother Lance. He's gonna start getting into streaming some more stuff soon. We just, the budget's increasing. We're gonna get a new camera, new setup, new mic, all that whole thing. It is pricey, so it does take some time. But we're gonna work him into here and get him making some content very, very soon.
Love that. Love that.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So we've this is the first podcast we've done since launch. Like the last one me and DJ did was literally the few hours leading up until the early access service went live. So we kind of like went live, did a podcast, and then right as the service went live, we just kind of split off and did our separate streams. Right. So we've done that. So we've had a couple of weeks to kind of like play the game, have some fun, do some things, and I've got some questions.
Wait, you
for
guys
both
played
of
the
you.
game?
Wait, what? What's the
I literally just sat in blind burrows for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, true story.
Blind burrow. Good lordy.
I know, right? All those spiders. God, the immobilized. Anyway, that's for another rant, another
We'll
time.
talk about that in a few.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Skyy, so tell me a little bit about like what did you do when the servers went live? What were you doing? Were you streaming, and like what class did you pick, or what was going on, bro?
Might not have been the best idea. I should have maybe planned this a little better, but before the launch, I was actually streaming maybe 3-4 hours beforehand to build up the hype or whatever, and I actually woke up for some reason. The excitement. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that first day of school excitement where like you can't freaking sleep, man.
Yep.
You can't sleep. You're thinking about going to that class and who's gonna be in my class, teachers, whatever schedule. So it was kind of like that same experience. Like I couldn't sleep. I was up all night and then I couldn't stay asleep. I woke up early, whatever. And I wanted to do a very long stream, and I wanted to try to hit 50 the first stream. I wanted to try to do it, which is it's a lot. That's a lot of leveling in one stream, man. And I think as the stream started, I was already up for maybe 8 hours, 9 hours, and then after that the stream started. The chat was going crazy. I was excited. I was hopped up on G Fuel and love and energy, I guess. I don't know.
Gamer subs. He said gamer subs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I got excited, and then was just I streamed. I was playing a rogue. I streamed for about I think 21 hours, and then into the next morning, and into the next morning about 8-9 a.m. And then I was like, well, it's time to make content now. So then after I ended stream, I ended up writing a couple scripts, making some videos, posting them, and the views ended up doing pretty well because, as you guys know, the hype for a game, it ramps up, and then it goes like this as the game launches, and then it slowly drops down. So like, if you're gonna go hard, if you're gonna make content, it's gonna be within those first couple months to really stake your claim into the Diablo 4 content creator space and to own in a couple niches of your own. So
Absolutely.
was working hard. Was working hard. Yeah.
Amazing. So you started with your rogue. Your aim was to get level 50. How'd you get
Yes,
on?
sir. I think I got to level 49, 48.
Okay, that's
Like,
actually
that's
really
it.
good going.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
close
wrapped.
enough.
Yeah, I wrapped up the story. I completed all the strongholds. I did all that, and it was fun, man. Listen, Diablo 4 launch experience. First of all, it was incredibly smooth on my end, anyway. I know PS5, PS4 players had a lot of issues, but PC for me, it was, man. I didn't have not one disconnect, not one problem. And it was easy breezy, man. Easy breezy for me. I had a great time. I was absolutely destroying things
Were
on
you
that
on
road.
the early access, the 4-day early access?
Yeah, I tested all those beta weekends, the early access, open beta, server slam, all those, yeah.
Lovely.
Were you in the tests of the other creators? Oh, okay.
No, no, I
Yeah.
never got invited to that. I tried to reach out to Blizzard a lot of times, but hey man, it
I'm
is what
sure
it
you're on
is.
their radar now. Like,
Yeah,
Gotta
they know
be.
who I am.
yeah,
They know who I am. Yeah,
Good.
I'm sure.
good. So as a rogue main to start, how are you feeling about the class so far from launch to today? Going from the nerfs you got and all that
Um,
stuff.
I think I think I think the nerfs are very they were needed. I
Mhm.
think the class is it's a little unbalanced when it comes to the damage department. I think twisting blades is it's a blessing and a curse as well because it's by far the strongest core skill if you know what the heck you're doing. I'm sure you guys are playing, and the whole issue is with the cooldown reduction. Once you use Twisting Blades, it follows you. If it hits someone, it reduces all of your other cooldowns. Very strong thing. And I was theory crafting builds for Twisting Blades, Puncture, Trap, the whole thing. That's like the meta right now for Rogue months before the game even came out. And I'm telling people, I'm like, listen, this is not normal. All of this is going to be broken. And then come launch day, I flew through the levels 1 to 50 in 19 hours, 18 hours, which is probably not super fast to those speedrunners out there, but I was flying and it was the damage was not normal, but I think they needed to get nerfed, and I'm not sure how it is now. I haven't played Twisting Blades since like level 50, 55-ish.
Are
I
you doing
haven't
like
played it.
pen shot or what build do you play now?
I play everything. I play it all. Right now I'm just trying to, find those off meta builds for rogues and
Hmm.
because people love off meta stuff.
Yeah,
They
they
love
Yeah.
something that sucks and turning it into something that's just broken. Like people love that stuff. Like I made a flurry build where it's like it uses cold imbuement and like cold imbuement isn't the strongest thing on its own, but when you pair it with a couple things and you get it rocking and rolling, it's freaking strong, man. Like being able to freeze someone for 5-6 seconds and then amplify your damage on them, and then you use the multipliers to just skyrocket your damage through the
Yeah.
roof. You'd one shot people. It's crazy. So
I
people
think that
people love that.
what happens a lot is your knowledge of like the simple mechanic of understanding how damage works in the game, how the multipliers work, and how to create damage out of like thin air, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like gives you the advantage of being able to create builds that you can really workshop that other people can't theory craft because they're just not able to play the game like we are.
Yeah, of course.
And the quantity of playing the game. So
Yeah,
like
of
you
course.
can create a build for a frost imbuement, rogue build that ends up being pretty good. And then someone else is like, I'm just gonna play that. That looks fun because I don't have the time to,
Yeah.
dedicate to doing something like that. And I don't want to play twisting blades like everybody else.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to play
exactly.
pen shot, you know. And I think that's such a unique perspective on gaming and like this that
Yeah,
we get to have. And I think it's really
yeah,
fun.
yeah, big time. Under the comments of that video, it's funny that you say that. So many people are like, "Holy crap, thank you!" Like they're literally thanking me. Which
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Like I'll take the thanks, whatever. But like they're like, "Holy shit!" Like I'm destroying things with this build. Like I'm one-shotting everything because I break it down. The stat priorities, the
Yeah.
legendary aspects, why you should use daggers over swords, why you should do this, that. I break it down, man, and then those people that don't have time, like even my brother Lance, like he doesn't have a lot of time to play the game, and I'm sure if he played as much as me, he would be better than me. He's an incredibly smart kid. So like, I'm teaching him, and I'm thinking in the perspective of, okay, how would I teach my brother right now? Because he's the average Diablo 4 player. He's
Mhm.
busy as hell. He's got a house. He's got, the whole shebang of bills and life and responsibilities. Like, and if I could break it down to him and show him and teach him, then I'm golden. And he was working a druid build. He was doing like a tornado build, and it just wasn't working out right. He was dealing like hundreds of damage. And it
So
was, it
he
was a
wasn't a
struggle.
werewolf, is what you're saying?
No, he was just
Oops,
yeah,
missed it by
yeah,
that much. You
Yeah,
know?
just missed the mark, man.
yeah. He was
Where
right there,
NATO?
and then yeah, and he was he was dealing literally hundreds of damage at like level 50, and then I broke down and taught him the processes, and then he ended up making a build with like landslide, and he was hitting for like 40,000 on his landslide. So it like just those little simple tips and tricks and those little guidelines you follow in Diablo, it takes your damage from this and shoots it up to the moon to where he went from like struggling to kill two elites to now he's one-shotting them. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So,
And
um,
it's a good feeling to impart on people, to give
oh
them
yeah, for sure.
that feeling of strength that they were confused in before. Like
100%.
showing them the light. It's just like, as
Yeah.
a content creator, that's what we're here for, is to like help teach and entertain and impart any sort of information we can, and lift people up to
Yeah.
be able to do this stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
love it. I love
100%.
it.
Oh, this is it. Like back in the days of making Outriders content, like I made a few kind of meta builds. People like them. They get a lot of views, stuff like that. But the people who, when I made, put it this way, when I put off meta builds up, people loved it. They absolutely loved it because I think there's this kind of thing with meta builds. It's all good. Like, if you're trying to like speed run, you're trying to like push world
Yep.
first. You're trying to this, you just go meta because that's what meta is, right? It's the best you can do.
Mhm.
You can do it the fastest. You're the most powerful, whatever. But when it comes to just gaming, people want something different. They want to be something different. People
Yep.
when you see like a tier list and things like, oh yeah, you can quite easily go and try something meta. But as soon as like some cool like off meta builds come out, they're the hipster builds, bro. They're the ones that
Yeah,
people play and they're like, fuck twisting blades.
Yeah.
I'm playing puncture, bro. Cold imbuement. Like I'm doing loads of damage. Check this build out as well. Cool. Like yeah, it's nice to be able to make those off meta builds for sure.
It's
sure.
true. It's true. It's fun. I love when like the people who are obviously busy with life and responsibilities and stuff like that, and they don't get to play the game however many hours or whatever and study the game like a job like I do, because it's literally my job to study the game and learn and create to teach people who are too busy. Like, and it's so funny that goes back to the point of I was doing that as a career, making explainer videos and teaching people of products and how they work and why you should use them. And now I'm doing it for video games and guides. No more Reggie Rebar. No more Reggie Rebar. You toss him to the fucking can, dude.
I hope that one person that also has seen your video about Reggie Rebar like makes a
Oh
comment on
man.
one of your videos, just like brings up Reggie like 5 years down the line, and it's just like,
Might
it's
have to
Reggie
make
Rebar
him.
here.
I might,
You know what? Somebody could make a YouTube name named Reggie Rebar and just
I'm
remind
sure.
him every now and then.
Dude, you know what? I gotta make him an emoji. That'd be pretty funny,
That'd be
actually.
Yeah,
awesome.
bro.
Reggie
Keep yourself
Rebar.
grounded, you know?
That's
You gotta know
great.
where you came from.
God,
Because
That'd
when
be
you're hitting
good.
like shroud numbers in a few months here, you got to remember Reggie Rebar.
Reggie Rebar, ridiculous, ridiculous. I'll be right
So
back.
of how many
Sorry.
classes have you played of the
Dude,
few? Oh,
give me like 2 seconds. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
do you think?
Yeah, no
Do you think?
worries, no worries. So from there, then I'm gonna ask you a question, then DJ, because
Hmm.
we haven't had a chance to talk about anything since launch. This is the first podcast.
Yeah.
You went hardcore, you crazy man, right?
Did.
Paladin? No,
No.
just get people's back up. Necromancer,
Anti-paladin,
yeah,
dude.
the
I was
anti-paladin.
late to the party. I was
How
healing
was
late.
that? Tell me why did you want to go hardcore straight away? Was it because of the event, or are you just like a masochist?
So a lot of it was the event, and like, so in my dumb reptile brain, like I have this thing where I am trying to juggle between entertainment and skill, and I always lean more towards skill because that's what I like to watch. Like I like to watch that, like the skill based things on Twitch, and if I'm watching something, it's informative generally. And so when when I was looking at like the opening of Diablo, I was like, okay, I could do something entertaining. You know, I'll play for 12 hours a day and I'll just you know, create some necro guides or do whatever I'm doing. Cause my aim, you remember when we were talking to Canon, my first aim was to make a Sever build.
Yes.
And when I initially was like theory crafting, I was like, blood is going to be the only answer for how much damage is coming out in the end game. So I went blood to start, and that's when I lost that first character. Was like that blood build, and so I theory crafted it again, and but like I really wanted to prove that I could be a force in the Diablo world, and like show that I have credentials. Like I have the skill, I have the intelligence, I have the ability. And that was my aim to start. And
Mhm.
then everything came out afterward about what the 100 race ended up being, which is like it really like took the wind out of my sails for a little bit. You know what I mean? Because like you watch all these people like Shroud dying to a DC after he hit 100, admittedly, watching Quinn die to a DC getting into town,
Oof.
um like that stuff happening, watching Nori, like how much effort both Nori and I put into that, like into the last 2 weeks, and watching him lose a character to what I can only assume is a bug, and it happened to you the other day playing in softcore. You're just walking around and just dead.
Dead. Yeah.
Like imagine that happening in hardcore. You're level
Yeah.
95, dude.
Bro.
It's like, and it happened to Nori, and like just that feeling of like every moment was unease, so I had to be as safe as possible. It was like it became less about the skill and more about just the slow progression, and keep it slow, keep it steady, don't risk anything.
Yeah.
And like that, it kind of like, if I would go back and with the knowledge I have now, like 2 weeks, I would just play softcore, make content, play PvP, you know, do my DJ thing, you know, like.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, the hardcore race, I think, is they made a pretty big mistake when they're not communicating how to fix the issues that they have in their game. I think that's a big problem. But other than that, the race was fun. It was a good
And you
time.
did it.
Obviously, you're constantly living on the edge. You're constantly like, okay, well, that's a cold imbued, you know, monster, and then the next one behind it is putting up the cold walls. So if I get hit by a cold wall and then I get auto attacked by this cold imbued monster, I'm dead. That's it. There's nothing I can do. And like thinking about that and analyzing the game and then like moving forward from there of how to approach fights, um it's a lot more fun in my opinion than like softcore, because softcore I don't feel like I have any sort of qualms about dying. Obviously I don't
I
lose it.
don't. I die all the time, but then I'm in
Right,
Nightmare
I mean,
Dungeon 100
so
and I get one shot of everything.
whole
So
different,
it's a
like
bit crazy.
builds are completely different. Like um you're not pushing nightmare for any other reason other than to get your glyphs in
Mhm.
order, and like making sure that you can complete the content. It's only like 2 or 3 levels above you. You're not trying to go for the 10 or the 20. Like somebody clearing 100 in hardcore is going to be the most insane shit like that Diablo has right now, because of how the damage disparity from level like 2 levels to 54 levels. It's insane.
Bro, I can
Oh,
I
So
can tell you, I've like literally my last stream yesterday, I was soloing tier 100s. I got about halfway through one on my Sorc,
mhm,
about halfway
mhm,
through one. And they are nutty. And we did it in a group. We had a 4-man group, all of us level 100. We were doing T100s, and bro, it is nuts. There are some mobs combinations things that are just like unkillable because everything is a one shot. Sky,
yeah.
have you played hardcore at all?
nah. Right now, I was playing it super safe, man. Because if I lost a character at level 60, 70, 80, whatever it may be, dude, I'm a dead man. You know what I mean? Like half my time is like, I don't really play much video games. I would say it's kind of crazy to say, but like I'm primarily making videos and guides and stuff. I would say probably 60-40. Like
Mhm,
I don't play as much games as people would think. Like I really don't. So like if I ended up losing a character after 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, like that's not an option for me. Like I don't have time to be investing to lose a character. You know, when season 1 comes out, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll start off hardcore, whatever. But right now, the launch, I gotta have my characters. I gotta have them leveled up because, man, in Diablo, there's some shit you die to that just makes you like, oh, that's bull crap. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, give me a break. Like, dude, I was in a Helltide, I think actually last night, and I tabbed to change one of my talents, and as I was changing it, a giant meteor just goes boom, and then just kills me. I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck did I just
Yeah.
die to? Like, I'm like, yo, could you imagine if you were on hardcore and you just died to a random meteor just falling on you out of nowhere? It's not even a mob killing you. Like, I would be pissed. So like, yeah, like,
I've got a one up for you because it happened to a hardcore player that was playing Sork that had the fire shield imbuement, but
mm-hmm,
because he was on his mount, there's a system that not a lot of people know, but like I figured this out because it feels like a bug. In town, your skill tree is shut off. It's not deactivated. It's like completely shut off. So your talents and like skill points and like specific things will not appear on your stat sheet correctly
mm,
until you get out of town into combat, right? So if you're on your mount, it is also deactivated because they give you a new skill bar, right?
mm,
So this guy is riding on his mount, just chug along, going through a Helltide, level 75 ish, right? Probably about 60 hours in if you played by yourself. Has fire imbuement, fire shield imbuement, which
The
is a
enchantment.
lifesaver.
yeah,
Yeah,
the enchantment.
Enchantment.
fire shield enchantment, which you cannot die, you know,
Yeah,
from that.
cheat
It's a
death,
cheat
yeah.
death.
But since he was on his mount and he got hit by a fireball from Helltide that did not have an indicator on the ground, instantly died, lost all of everything.
Yeah, I'm
Can
good. I'll
you?
pass,
It's
Yeah,
like
no.
that feeling of like
pass on that.
there's literally no counterplay,
All right.
nothing I could have done to.
Right. Well, this is
So
it's kind
it,
of I'm the same as you. Like, being a dad and all that. I don't have tons and tons of time all the time. When I play, I go really hard, just to try and like level up my characters and just like try and push out content because I like to just get right to the end, get right into like the nitty gritty in the top, like the top kind of like 1% kind of stuff, so I can be right there in the top place and then make guides and stuff about that. There's a lot of content creators I've seen that get to like 60 make a guide, 70 make a guide, 80 make a guide, but my approach is like get right to the end and then go, guys, this is like the ultimate kind of end game guide. That's kind of just what I do. I think it's better if I would have done it the other way around, but that's just kind of what I do. I've got it, so playing hardcore, like
Yeah,
I
no
can't do
way.
it because if I lost a
it's
character, man, it
stressful.
would be savage.
It's a tough game, dude. It's a tough game, and the whole no DRs on crowd control is a big issue too. Like, I mean, you could get frozen, then stunned, and then one of those vampires do that lunging sword thing, and then they suck your blood. Like, there's no DRs, so if you don't have your unstoppable up for however many times, you're dead like that. So like
Mhm.
there's a lot of ways you can die in this game very, very, very easily. It is
Yes.
not easy. Even just making it to hardcore level 100 is a giant achievement on its own. So
Well, it's luck
Yeah,
too.
well played, DJ, because he
Sure.
did. He got his necro to 100 on
yeah,
hardcore,
did
which
you?
is pretty big. Yeah, he's been grinding it. Like, is
Wow.
that it? Was your third hardcore character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, third. But
So
he had two deaths.
first one died at 40 or yeah 45 hours. So I was in like 20th place. Um, Shroud had died earlier that day. I was in 20th place playing solo. Like I had nobody with me playing Blood Necromancer, and I made that guide. And then later that day, at like hour 19 of the stream, I was like, I'll just get 65 and I'll log off. I'm super tired. 64.999. I'm in the dungeon that everybody's farming. What was it? Mogan's Works. And walk forward. I like adjusted wrong and then had to use my unstoppable cooldown to get out of a CC. And I was like, I'll be fine. I have my overpower damage up. I dash forward, do my overpower damage. It does not kill the mob pack. I get stunned and
Like that,
frozen.
man.
And I'm like sitting there looking at the screen. You can see it in the rip clip. I'm just like, and then I switch over and realize that I could try and scroll of escape, which is the thing. It makes you immune and you instantly get out. but I'm stunned, so I can't scroll of escape. But if I hit the button, it would be the first thing I did after I get out of CC. I
Ooh.
died.
Didn't
It
get
was
out of
just
CC. Just frozen.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the clip. Just frozen, and his life just went
Yeah.
like, if that's his bar, frozen, and I'm
Yeah.
just watching him, and he's like, ding, 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 ding,
shut
ding,
down.
ding, 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 dead. It wasn't even like a one shot. It was just a, like trickling down. You're there, just like, come on, like just in one freeze, man. Didn't get unfrozen the whole time. Didn't have his unstoppable up.
What the
Savage.
worst feeling is like miscalculating damage by like 2 to 3% because the mobs lived with like no health. And I was like, oh, I just miscalculated just a little bit.
So
It's
what
pain.
were you doing to level up so fast? You were just running those regular normal dungeons like
The
over and
first
over
day
and over?
was just like normal leveling and stuff. The second day was, or this, sorry, the first character was just like normal leveling. The second character I'd hit my friend up, that Ben also played with, Nori, very good theory crafted, great mind, very intelligent dude. That I had theory crafted a couple builds with. I was like, dude, I can't do this alone because if I die now, the race is over. I'm not going to be able to make it because I had the assumption that people were going to hit more, hit 100 easier because like all the information came out about runes of Eridu and blind burrows and like all these different dungeons. Champ's demise, like being the meta. So like I was like, we have to level together. We have to figure this out. We did. We got to level like 65, 67 together. And then we were like, all right, let's do like capstone 2, or yeah, the second capstone. We were very, very like meticulous about it. And then we both lost those 2 characters and power leveled each other in different ways. So like I lost my necro first at like 69, which hell yeah, nice. Swag. Um but I lost that necro because I thought of the bug that I was telling you about earlier. Because I was in town theory crafting all of my damage, and I'm like, where's my damage reduction? I don't have my 18% damage reduction from sacrificing my minions. This is weird. And that's a huge thing in
Yeah, that's a
hardcore.
big
Like
thing.
18% is life or death, right?
That's
So I was
massive.
like, I'll move these points away. And then I went into the dungeon. 30 seconds later, I was dead within changing those points, which is like
Yikes.
so frustrating. Anyways, so he power leveled my other necro that ended up getting 100, and then I power leveled his character from there. So I power leveled his barb in Champ's Demise after he lost his sorceress, and then I power leveled another character for him. But the whole situation is like, if you don't have somebody else, you're done. You're out of the race. Like we've got a friend Zav who's lost 2 characters to DCs, 1 character to normal death, 2 characters to DCs, and he's like, I'm still going, and it's like he's live right now. Actually, like Zav's a super nice guy doing the hardcore race. He's like 83, but because he's playing solo. But if you play with a group,
Crazy.
it's insane. It's insane. The experience is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Not only
much
that, you can
faster.
reset the dungeon. So like,
Yeah.
it's just it's
There are
crazy,
ways.
man.
So he's talking about like hardcore, talking about like it's easy to die, even like in softcore, things like that. Like I was very much under the impression that Diablo 4 was going to be like quite a casual, friendly game. Skyy, do you think that Diablo 4 is a casual, friendly game?
To be honest, I don't, not at all. Diablo's not casual in my opinion at all. I think it's picturing even talking to I'm gonna bring up the point again, talking to my brother Lance. Bro, it takes so damn long to level up in this game post like level 50. It takes a long time, man. It takes a long time. It's not easy. And then at that, then you have, if someone doesn't know what they're doing, they're gonna see the Paragon board and be like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you have the extracting and the imprinting and then the enchanting and then optimizing your gear setup and then the different, multiplier buckets and like how every build should mandatory have some sort of vulnerability in their kit. Like if you don't, you're absolutely throwing. Like there's a lot of things that people just don't know, dude. Like, and it's not a casual game. No, I don't think so at all. No.
I completely agree. I don't think so.
You played
What?
Path of Exile, bro.
Sorry?
You played Path of Exile recently, bro. Like this is like,
Yeah.
I mean, compared to that, like it's apples and oranges kind of thing.
Yeah, but
they're in the
I
same
felt like I
realm.
could level easier on there. Like the Diablo 4 grind is real. What level did you get to, Sky? What's your highest level
Right
character?
now, I'm like in the 80s. I'm in the 80s right now on my rogue, and I'm not. Listen, I've never been the guy to just sit there and do the most efficient XP per hour, or I guess in this case in Diablo per minute,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess that's a fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never been the guy to just sit there, go in the regular dungeon, spam it, bam, bam, bam. Like I for my rogue, I've been clearing, nightmare tiers between 17 to like 22, 23 levels higher than me, probably as soon as I can, you know what I mean? Because I like doing that. And seeing those new changes with the Nightmare Dungeons coming out with the XP buffs
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff like that, I think that's a very, 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 very good change. I've never really liked the whole sitting in Champions Demise or Eridu or Iron Hold or,
Yeah.
whatever, just
That
sitting in
stuff's
there. And
boring.
yeah,
Like,
the shit sucks, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't like it. I like the idea of saying, hey, okay, I got this nightmare key. I'm gonna click it. They're gonna teleport me there. I can get bonus XP, glyph XP, better chance at uniques,
Yeah.
whatever, whatever it may
I'm
be.
all
So
about that too.
that's an amazing change, in my
That's
opinion.
it.
That was, I mean, the biggest mistake that they've made so far was realizing or not realizing that the the dungeon paths that they have created are pretty linear for the most part. Like you going even into Demon's Wake, which is another high experience area, you have to follow a linear path to open up the second part of the dungeon where people
Mhm.
can split up and make the
Mhm.
experience efficient.
Mhm.
But Champ's Demise opens from the very beginning,
Yeah.
and you can just split off into three people,
Agree. Yeah.
clear the dungeon, and you are now 3 times the experience faster than a solo player.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy. I
like
don't.
in a hardcore race, when you have the integrity of the race, like it lowers the integrity of the race every time something like this happens. The bugs, the experience gains, like it's like an information war.
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
I said from the
Knowledge is
beginning that I
power.
think it should have came out in season 1.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Well, this is it. I mean, not knowledge is power. I did a lot of the like Champions Demise, like speed running it over and
mhm,
over and over. Like that's exactly what I did because so me and you, Sky, are very different in our approach to the game. I wanted to get very much to like the end game, and I, I'm trying to solo T100s, but this is it. The game is not casual friendly if you're trying to get to end game. I think a lot of
mhm,
people are gonna end up in like the 70s, and people that push a bit more, the average player might get into the 80s, and then that's it, they're done because
I
it
agree.
is so grindy. Oh my god, like
mhm.
I literally I made that rant video that I was on about just before we started the podcast. I made a massive rant video. I was like, bro, it's so fucking hard to level. It takes so long. I did like the optimum level with 3 other people running Champions Demise like over and over, and we were super efficient for
Mhm.
days to get that,
Yeah.
and it was nuts. It was nuts. Put it this way: there's one good thing to doing that, and it depends on your opinion. Good thing, right? If you want to level alts and things, I've actually got a video up on YouTube. I leveled a brand new character. I tried to speedrun it as quick as I could with 3 other people who were all ready to speedrun this character, right? I got a brand new character from level 0 to level 50 in 13 minutes and 3 seconds. 13
13
minutes
minutes.
and 3 seconds. I got it level 50. Spawned a new character. I had one person already at the boss of the first capstone dungeon. I had one person already at the boss in the second capstone dungeon, and somebody at Champion's Demise ready. So I spawned a character. I ran down, made an elixir, joined the group of the person in the first capstone, teleported to them, they killed the boss. I didn't even need to be in the boss room. Killed the boss,
Mhm.
went back to town, ran up to the statue, put it into world tier 3, because I was in world tier 2, put it in world tier 3, joined the second person, they killed the boss, came back to town, we all joined the third person, teleported Champion's Demise, and I
Wow.
stayed AFK basically at the start while they just kept resetting the dungeon. 13 minutes, 3 seconds at level 50 character. And then the first time we did it, it was 16 minutes, and then we shaved it off down to 13 minutes, and then just put it on YouTube. But so there are advantages to doing that if you want to get multiple characters to 50 plus to actually try them out, because endgame basically starts at level 60, in my opinion. At level
Yeah, for
60,
sure.
ancestral gear, you can do it.
And then you also get your Paragon, man. The Paragon board is Woo, that is a changer in your damage, I'll tell you that much. Once
Oh
you
yes.
start unlocking them rare nodes and the glyphs and the legendary, like, man, your damage starts skyrocketing fast. Like, so yeah, the end game, it's yeah, I would say around level 60-ish. Like that's when you actually start. And then, then at that point you actually have enough legendary aspects to play with, and then you can start deciding on what the hell you want to do. You have Paragon points to play with, whatever it may be. Maybe a unique if you're lucky.
Yes.
I was going to ask you guys, did you know the halfway point for the levels?
No.
Mm-mm.
85
Jesus Christ.
is halfway to 100
Whoa.
experience wise.
Because the experience
So to give you
skyrockets.
guys a guesstimate of like at level 100, it's 22 million experience. If you're in the open world, mobs stop scaling at 95. You're getting 40% less experience at 99 than you would at 95. There's a lot of math in it. So it's taking twice as long to get a level at 95 than it is, or at 99 than it is at 95, And it's a whole lot that I think Blizzard did a good job to a certain extent. But this brings me to my next point of a casual player, and it's a question for both of you. How do you guys feel about like I come from ARP, like restarting a character to me, seasons, that's nothing new. Like I'll do that all day because I love seasons. I think that's a great business model for rehashing your
100%.
content, creating new storylines for you as a player.
Mhm.
Right now they just released that you're going to have to restart a character every new season, and people are furious about it on Twitter. Have you guys seen this?
Yeah, I
have.
have. I think, man, I think the only way that this ship is gonna keep sailing is I think they're making it long and sort of drawn out because we don't have World Tier 5 either, so that's another shit ton of XP to dive
Yeah.
into and to start
Spoiler
boosting
alert: World
character.
Tour 5 is going to exist.
Yeah, that's a thing. And then also, I think they're also going to nerf the amount of XP you need to level up. And then also, Nightmare Dungeons apparently are going to give you a lot more. I do think right now, I think at the state it is right now, it is not even close to good for a casual player. And if I was a casual looking at this game, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I could stay very far away from Diablo and be very happy because
Mhm.
I don't want to spend every 3 months or 4 months, however long the seasons are, I don't want to spend 2 of those months because, I mean, we're 3 weeks in, and I play a lot of this game, man. I play a lot of this game. Like, I would say I play minimum 3-4 hours a day, minimum. So, like, casuals, they're lucky if they get a couple hours in a night, every other night, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this shit ain't happening when they're hitting level 100. It ain't gonna happen. Once you're in the 90s, I'm sure you guys know, if you're solo, it's taking you hours upon hours
Yeah.
to get through one level, like hours and hours and hours. Like that's
And
not
that's
an
efficiency
option.
too. I was in my
Yeah.
last level for 8 hours.
It's like
And
a full day to do one level. A full day's
But-
gaming session. You got a day off. You sit down to play. Even people that
Yeah.
are reasonably hardcore will
But-
an 8 hour session is a good bit. But for one level, and look at that, it's like a whole day gone just to get level 99 to 100 in Diablo 4 in a game. It's
and
nuts, isn't it?
also, like generally, a casual player isn't gonna know to do these things correctly because they're just like, I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm working construction. I don't have time to go on YouTube and like listen to some kid talk about this video game, and I'm just like doing what I do. I'm playing the game
Yeah.
at a casual pace. So like, I get seasons are not made for them, and it's an unfortunate circumstance. They will eventually get the seasonal content. Seasonal content is made for the hardcore, right?
Mhm.
It's made for the player that is going to play 8 hours a day. It's made for that guy. It's made for the streamers. It's made for the content creators. And it's a weird circumstance where the end game of these games is not made for the casual player. The casual player can play through the storyline, enjoy themselves. It's like Destiny. Like, how often do you see players that play Destiny that just have never touched a raid? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a very prevalent thing, and they watch these people do, like, the last time I played was years ago, but World of Warcraft, nowadays you have an easy entry into doing the raids, but before Cataclysm, Like if you didn't have a guild, you didn't have 40 people ready to rock, you didn't do Molten Core. You didn't
Yeah,
do
100%.
AQ. You didn't do like this content. It was locked to you because you played
Yeah.
solo. And
Yeah, and then
that's like
they implemented a raid finder and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and
right. They
it's
try to make
I
it
agree. Yeah,
because it
I
was a
agree.
storyline, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I know that Final Fantasy is doing something similar where they have a raid finder for the entry level. They have like 3 tiers of fights, very similar to World of Warcraft, because it's a storyline thing and it's integrated into the world, and they don't want to gate content behind specific things for people. But as a casual player, unless you're playing the Eternal Realm regularly, you're probably not going to do uh like a lot of World Tier 4 content.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
unfortunate. It's also a
I
time thing, you know?
I agree. I agree. I don't, unless they, especially for seasonal content, which I'm sure they will do. By the way, I don't know if you guys can hear my dogs in the background.
Don't
No,
worry about it.
you're good.
Okay,
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
okay,
we have dogs. I have dogs.
okay, okay. They go crazy sometimes, um, but no, I think I do believe that they will nerf the amount of XP you'll need in seasons. I do believe that because I don't see how the hell they're gonna lose 60-70% of their player base if that doesn't happen. Like they're gonna play for 2 weeks and then once again hit level 50, 60 and be like, all right, that was a fun Diablo 4 season. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Like there's no way people have that much time to invest in a seasonal game unless they nerf the XP and then boost the XP growth and other things. Like I don't see it happening, and shit, I don't even know personally if I want to do that. Even as a player, like seasons are cool. Don't get me wrong, and I love the ideas and I love the new the new content coming out and trying out a new class this season. It's fun, but like. Man, if the XP stays the same, I don't want to do this shit again every 3 months. No
Yeah,
way.
bro.
I
Right.
personally, like, that's just personally me. Like, I'm sure you guys are different, whatever. But like, I'll get my fix the first couple weeks, and I'll say, okay, I'm gonna go back, I guess, to just making content on the Eternal Realm. I guess, like, I'm not gonna sit here in a season and just bash my head against the wall, and then 3 months later, everything gets still, transferred
You
over
have
to
to do it all
Eternal,
again.
refresh.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm the same. I mean, there is one thing that is coming. Obviously, we've mentioned about them. They're gonna like buff the Nightmare Dungeon experience, so we know that it's gonna get at least a little bit faster there. But when the Battle Pass comes out in season 1, remember there is the what are they like ashes or something you get that you I can't remember what it's called. That you go through the Battle Pass, and as you level up, you get access to like a mechanic, like a pointer, an ash or something, and you can actually use that to boost your experience gained. They mentioned that in one of their podcasts a while ago. So that is actually
Yep.
another way on top to level faster, at least during the seasons coming. I
We don't know how much.
no. I just
I'm
can't remember how
assuming
much
it's
it
like
is.
25% through the battle pass, but that's also the other point of contention is that they're bringing up um like if you don't level at the same speed that you go through the battle pass, it becomes
Uh-huh.
pay to win, right?
Mhm.
That's the argument that a lot of players they have gripes about this stuff, and it's very valid information because
Mhm.
if somebody buys all the tiers of the battle pass on day 1 and they level up and you get it every 10 levels, you are going to unlock that immediately. The battle pass already maxed. You don't have to worry about unlocking it. But if you get a tier in the battle pass like every 3 levels, then the person that doesn't buy the extra steps is behind just
Mhm.
automatically. And they're incrementally behind every day. And when leaderboards happen, that's the major issue that people are worried about. Because like there's no distinction between like skill level and ability right now in the game other than like people getting 100 posting videos of them killing Uber Lilith.
Yeah.
But when leaderboards happen and you have something like that, the first person to 100 is incredibly important to the meta, so to
Yeah.
speak, of like content creation. So like Karn hitting 100 is like a major boost, especially in hardcore. People want that as well for like season 2, season 3, season 4. And if it becomes
100%.
this like, oh, if you didn't buy all the battle pass stuff, like you're just not going to be able to do that part of the content. Like you can't hit 100 because you didn't buy this thing. That's what people are scared about too, with the
But
battle
they
pass.
end up setting the benchmark, don't they? Once they've hit like 100, like the first person to hit 100 sets the benchmark, and then everyone's like, "Oh, how did you do it? How did you do it that fast?" It's like the
Right.
speedrunning community. Like, how did you do that?
Mhm.
What were the tips and tricks? Everyone's trying to be like uber
Yep.
efficient. things. But I feel like it's a very small portion of like the player base. I
Absolutely,
like the
absolutely.
actual like the speedrunners that want to min max
Yeah.
like even the route which dungeon they go in. People like logging off. You know, in other games it means you like log off to teleport back to town, and log back in. It's faster than like
Yeah.
teleporting back. There's things like that. People do
100%.
that stuff. It's crazy. But that's
100%. Like,
speedrunning
a
stuff.
casual player doesn't care about that stuff. But it's like to like the like I was saying in your chat, like to the reptile brain competitive players like me, like that like little ego boost you get in the back of your like I hit 100 first, like I'm insane, you know? It diminishes these things. Like if PvP in Lost Ark, you saw the guild versus guild. Oh, I just realized Upside Down made a joke that we were gonna bring up Lost Ark as we do. He's like countdown to bringing up Lost Ark.
No, oh, you did it. Oh, man.
But in Guild vs. Guild, it is so pay to win, or was until like recently. Like it was the amount of money you threw at your character defined how powerful you were in the game. Because it's so hard to hit the highest levels in that game. Like casual player will never, ever, ever hit that ever max item level.
Oh god, no.
But tons of people throw thousands of dollars to do so. That's like nobody cares about Guild vs. Guild because of that, right?
Yeah.
But they care about Arena because Arena is regulated. That's important to people. So it's that type of mentality.
Was Arena templated in that game? Like,
Yeah.
you know how
So
they,
you can had a certain amount. Everybody had a certain amount of points. Everybody had specific buffs and debuffs to their skills, specifically for Arena.
I remember they did that in what was it, Legion? What WoW
Yeah,
expansion?
they did that in Legion, and then they did that in BFA. They kind of tried to like backtrack a little bit.
They like normalize the content, normalizing
so
like
they,
PvP.
they templated your character so everyone's on an equal playing field.
Yes,
And then
people were mad about that in World of Warcraft because they couldn't have the advantage. They're like, "Oh, well, I hit 2100. I should be stronger than this person."
Yeah, exactly.
That was the system before.
Yeah.
I'm very much about competitive integrity, as you could tell, probably me bringing it up in 2 fucking seconds. But like League of Legends is a prime example. Like competitive integrity is intact. Everybody can have the same level playing field, right? So I think that's always important when it comes to these things. I don't want a casual player that takes a month off and he's just like, dude, I just can't do it. I just want to play Diablo this season. That's just what I want to do. I don't want him to not have an even playing field because he didn't buy the battle pass.
No, that would be a freaking nightmare. That'd be a pay to win situation, and
right. And that's just
gross. Yeah, that's bad.
People are worried about it. I'm worried about it. I think it's important to talk about as well.
I think all eyes everywhere are on Diablo 4 right now, and what the devs are going to be doing this first season. All eyes are on them, man. Like you go look up Sports Center, they're going to be showing Diablo 4 right now. So like, it doesn't matter where it's at. The Diablo 4 is taking over the world right now, and it's like the #1 thing on Twitch streams. All the streamers are playing it. So like, I mean, I want to believe that they won't do anything crazy and they won't do anything too nuts when it comes to monetization or anything like that. But I think everything's gonna be fine in the end. In the end, though, I think they're definitely their intentions are good, and they're like the developers are. I'm sure man, the devs throughout the years of World of Warcraft have been terrible, and they've been super unresponsive. Like I remember back in Shadowlands, there was before a major patch came out. I think it was 10 months before a new patch actually came out.
You said Shadowlands?
Yeah, Shadowlands. I don't know if
that was a nightmare.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was 10 months before a premium additional patch came out with additional content, etc., or raids, whatever. And then you go to Diablo 4, and man, the devs are pretty much, they're kind of on their shit, man. They're on their shit. Like they're updating people every day on Twitter. They're putting out reports. They're doing the fireside chats or whatever the goofy shit is that they're doing.
The campfire
live streams, campfire chat, whatever. And they're doing a really, really good job. And a lot of people accuse me of even being paid by Blizzard for saying stuff like this, but I like sometimes you got to know when to be a man and give the hat off to somebody and tip the hat, whatever, because they are doing a really, really good job when it comes to developing the game and trying to keep the community happy. I will say so. When it comes to the monetization, I think the whole world is looking at Diablo right now, and I think I want to say that they're going to make the right choice and make the right decisions. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think they're on it with a lot of stuff. I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know if you've seen any like Crypt stuff, because I kind of agreed with what Crypt was kind of saying originally back in the day, Cryparian. He was talking about like in beta when we did like the service line weekend, and even like before that, like we've the first set actually, the first beta weekend. So I kind of thought like this is what the game is going to be. You know, like playing Sork. But the ice enchantment cooldown, I literally got to a point where I was playing like piano Sork. I was like invincible. All my cooldowns just kept coming back. But they nerfed loads of that stuff. They nerfed like some stuff with twisting blades. They actually were on it. They kind of saw the server somewhere. Oh my god, all this stuff's broken. I thought maybe the game's already kind of shipped, ready to go. Like, I don't know if they're going to do much here, but no, they did loads of changes. And then the game comes out. You get like people like Rob get to 100, and then they nerf the whirlwind barb. So they nerf whirlwind barb like coming straight in. I thought a lot of their changes, like you say, like Twisting Blades even got nerfed again, didn't it? I thought a lot of the changes are actually been really good, because they're trying to go like, this is really overpowered, bring it down, and it makes you feel like I've been playing Sork loads and loads. I say I got the Sork to 100. That's the main thing I've been doing. And I felt like Sork was really unbalanced compared to a lot of the others. I felt like Rogue was really powerful, and Barbarian was just absolutely nuts. And then, so I felt a little bit like, oh man, like a bit like disappointed. Like, oh, I've picked Sork, and the other ones are just so much more powerful, and they'll be able to level so much faster and do all this kind of stuff. And I wanted to be kind of semi-competitive to get to like 100. But then when they start bringing that down, it actually feels good for people playing like other classes. So like for me on Sork, I was like, okay, it's coming more in line now. I think there's still some adjustments to go. But I feel like they have done a good job getting on it and telling us about this. And then they say the campfire chat was good.
And also they have that I'm sure you guys are aware, that 13-page patch notes coming out apparently soon, where they have the ginormous patch of changes or updates or whatever coming out that they announced.
Gimme.
I'm ready to see what the hell is going on. I want to see what's happening, because there are some builds out there that are simply just bad. And this is actually a point I wanted to bring up. Did you guys see that Reddit post of the spell and build distribution at level 100 by any chance? Did you guys get to see that?
No, but that seems really interesting. Go ahead with that.
Let me
Is this
send
from
it to you.
D4 Armory? Because that's where you can see all that stuff really easy.
Yeah, and someone broke it down to the actual percentages. I'll send it to you guys on Discord, and if you want, you can show it on stream. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, man. Let's have a little look, shall we?
So there you go. You can look at it right there, and you could check out the distribution, and it might look like a bunch of nonsense at first, but if you look closely and break it down, like you go to Barbarian, this is hilarious. This cracks me up, which obviously is a problem. Like lunging strike this is for tracking players at level 100, by the way. So apparently, like you guys were talking about, the meta of things to play, which a lot of the casual players will follow because they want to try to be the best, whatever. So Barbarian lunging strike 92% of the time is being taken. Whirlwind 85% of the time. Challenging shout 96% of the time. Rally 99.83% of the time. Warcry 98, and like you really look at this list, it's like, holy shit, like that's a problem. Like obviously that's a major issue. Like you're telling me 90+% of the people playing Barbarian are running the same fucking loadout. It's a problem. So like obviously they're doing good, and there's they're doing their job, of course, but obviously stuff like this, it's an issue, and I'm sure they're already looking at and working on. Like even then, like you go to Druid, 0% of the level 100 Druids are playing Boulder, which is really funny. And then you go
less
to
than 1% playing Lightning Storm. Like that's a bummer.
Yeah,
like,
and then
you can see like the build diversity in Sork as well. I should find out a way to post it in chat, or I'll post it in my Discord.
I've got it up on my stream.
Also,
perfect.
the incinerate on the on Sorcerer is 0% as well. So like class
Literally
that brand.
zero.
I'm sure you as a Sork main are like, you're cracking up because Incinerate's just not good, dude. By the
Oh,
way,
the
have
only
you
way.
tried
Go on.
have you tried it with the unique by any chance?
I haven't yet.
Have you gotten it?
I've got the unique wand. I do
Oh, you
want to
lucky
give it a
man.
go as kind of like a meme build and actually see if it's any good. The problem with it is it keeps you static and nobody wants to stay
Yeah.
still. So the only way that you're going to get players to play this skill is if you put it on a unique or a legendary that you can use it while moving. And you're like a mobile flamethrower. If they put an affix in like that, so you can like move forwards and maybe you have like reduced movement speed, but you can move or something while firing out. Reduced movement speed
Yeah.
would still suck and people wouldn't do it.
What was
go on?
There was a build in D3 for Sorks or Wizards then, that was based on, they had two beams in that game. It was Ice Beam, and then they had Chaos Beam, I think was the one. And
It's like a laser, right?
yeah, and so you could beam one person, it would spread to like 15 people.
Ooh.
Or however many were near that unit. I think that there is a place for it, but it has to be so strong that it's fun enough to play.
Yeah,
Because like,
yeah.
when you see those numbers, you're like, oh, this is exciting, like for the casual player. But right now, not only is it bad, it doesn't do very much damage, and you're standing still. It's just like a bad skill, right?
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
place where standing still can work, and for most players, it's not going to be like they're not going to play that build. But there is like a niche for it, and if they have a good legendary, it can be good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they've got a little bit of work to do here, balancing out the skills and making this change. I mean, it is nuts. Like it must feel bad as well to some degree as a developer to get information like this and go, man, I developed that skill and nobody's using it. Like,
Yeah.
come on, they I
Boulder.
think
Who the fuck developed Boulder? That guy needs to be fired. Get rid of him. Can him, dude.
can
Boulder.
him. It'd probably be the
You know
first.
what
Go
makes
on.
me so sad
Yeah.
is like I've used Bloodwave in 2 different builds now, and it's 2%, 2.3%. Bloodwave is insane. It's so good. Why is nobody running this shit? I'm mad. I'm making build guides.
Because
It's
Bone
2%.
Storm, bro. Bone doesn't
Yeah,
Bone Storm.
Storm is.
Bone
Oh,
Storm
man.
is like easy access to crit and damage reduction, but like Bloodwave gives you so many more defensive options because they're just not hitting you. And there's like, I made a Shadow Dot build called the Dead Carpet build that was based on Bloodwave being lowered in cooldown.
Mhm.
It was awesome. It does so much damage.
Amazing.
What about Blood Lance? You ever use that?
That shit is dog shit. It's so bad. It's so
Dude,
bad.
it's literally just a terrible version of Bone Spear.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
such an awful. They should literally just make it to where like you pull out a lance of blood and just stab and pierce enemies in front of you or
They
something.
had a really like it really frustrates me the way they did Blood Dirty in this game
Yeah,
so
I
far.
agree.
So like Bloodlance could have been so many cool things.
Ooh, yeah.
Instead, it was a bad Bone Spirit. And this is
Yeah.
I've said this to Ben before. I think Necro, the way that this game feels is that Necro was the first character they finished. They created like they were like, all right, we're definitely gonna have Necro. Let's start on it now. And thematically, all of the stuff makes sense, but it's also really, really boring. Like the
Yeah.
Book of the Dead is like the lamest of all of the like character traits so far. It's like I'm gonna sacrifice my thematic that my minions to just get stats. That's not fun. Like nobody wants to do that,
I
right?
agree. It also doesn't feel good when you have to sacrifice skills on your bar for your pets. Like
For the
that.
minions, yeah, and you can't micro them. We were
That
talking about
feels.
that too.
Yeah, you can't even fucking micro them. That
Yeah,
is that is
it's
insane. That is
it was really
insane.
a situation.
See, I
Man.
feel like I even feel like ultimates should have their own slot. You should have
I
your
agree.
6 kills and then ultimate as a separate slot.
I agree.
So everybody
be
can
really
have an
fun.
ultimate. Yeah,
I think that would be awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think that'd be good.
It sucks when you go make a build and the better option is just to say, "Hey, I'm not gonna grab an ultimate for the 10th
Right.
time in the row." It's
Mhm.
actually not good for your build to grab an ultimate. I feel like at this point, unless you're very niche build, but like not picking it up an ultimate. There's a dozen rogue builds out there where you just don't pick up an ultimate. Like what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I do it all the time, and It definitely sucks. I feel like if there was an ultimate slot, that would just make you, I don't know, it'd make you like your build a lot more. Like, I don't know.
I think
I would love that
thematically it
idea.
brings it all together because once you
Yeah.
get that power, like it brings it back to like the League of Legends idea. Like you
Yeah,
get
I
to a
love that.
certain point, you become powerful. You
Yeah.
have an ultimate now, like
Yeah, I agree.
that feels good. Whereas like I think that right now, them not having a separate slot for ultimate really diminishes what like you could still have that build diversity, but if you were able to have that one extra slot, I think it further increases build diversity because you'd see Call of the Ancient, you'd see Iron Maelstrom, because like what does Iron Maelstrom do other than a little bit of damage, right?
It's
But you
it's
could use it as like, oh, I'm clearing wave clear with this elite
yeah.
or ability because it's not good on bosses,
Yeah,
but Wrath
it's
of the Berserker's good everywhere,
primarily
right?
the only reason you would use Iron Maelstrom is for walking arsenal to proc, because I think every time you use it, every time you tap it or whatever, you swap your weapons. So you'll use all three of your different types of weapons, and then you'll proc the and no, who the fuck is gonna play walking arsenal when you could just hold right click and play whirlwind? Like
Exactly.
why do I need to do this shit? Like why? I'm just gonna go grab Wrath of Berserker, grab all three shouts, buff myself to hell high water, and
Yeah.
just hold down right. Why
Yeah.
would I do anything else? There's no
I'm
point.
gonna yell at
Like,
these monsters and I'm gonna spin at them. It's gonna
yeah,
be
that's
awesome,
it.
right?
That's it. And that's just the way it is. And the
Yeah.
proof is in the pudding. There's 600 barbarian players, and 95+% of them are playing the same fucking build. Like
Yeah.
it's not a good thing. Like everything else is in the sub 10%, except for I
Mhm.
guess Hammer of the Ancients,
But
which is
that's a
only
one
used.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the only reason you're using Hammer of the Ancients is to really push Nightmare tiers to their highest
Yeah.
extent. So like in every other scenario, Whirlwind's just better. So yeah, I thought this was pretty interesting to show on stream. I'm surprised you guys haven't seen this, man. This was pretty big
Yeah.
the other
No,
day
I
when
hadn't seen this. No, I appreciate you bringing this because I've brought it up.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
up above us all on
Like
the
I said,
podcast.
I've
So
been Blind Burrows. I haven't been playing Diablo, I've been playing Blind Burrows.
you've been playing
So now
Blind
I'm
Burrows. You've been
back
Man,
hardcore leveling, just
Blind
like
Burrows.
focused.
it's
This is
this.
it. He's like you've been like he got to like 100 in hardcore. So hats off to him. But yeah, that must have been a scary
I'm
experience.
I'm putting my name on that statue.
You
That's
are.
awesome.
You are. I really want to
It's
do
gonna
it, but I
gonna
take
don't have the time. I think
gonna take a
season 2 is
picture
going to
next
be
to it.
quite good. Season 2 for hardcore should be when they fix like the scroll of escape on DC. Because season 1, as far as we're aware, the devs already kind of said that like season 1's like ready to ship. So I don't really feel like they're going to make it any, if maybe a few kind of tweaks to what it is, because it's already kind of ready to go. So the teams and stuff are starting working on season 2 and on season 3.
So it already kind of works, by the way.
It does.
The scroll of escape thing? Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've DC'd probably 60 times in my
Jesus.
last character race. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they had the Necro bug where Necro's just DC. It's just like good luck, bud. So it worked. I always was like I logged on in town several times. Pretty much every time. So I know that there's some implementation that does work with that, and I think that people are misconstrued on how it works or when it's getting perfected because it's in the game to a certain extent right now. It doesn't use my scroll of escape either. You just have to have one. So it's very interesting the way that like it doesn't make sense the way they're
So so DJ, you wanna work together? Maybe we can make a Bloodlance build, maybe?
So I'm working a blood build right now. I'll work with you on a bloodline. I
I have
literally was
faith,
thinking about
boys.
it too because
I
I was
have
like,
faith.
Bloodlance.
there's
0.5%, 0.5. It is terrible. It is
so bad.
it is all
But-
it is the worst version of Bone Spear. It is useless.
So the other issue about it is because of the way that multipliers work in the game, Bone is so far and away the most insane shit they've done for Necro because it fulfills all the roles that you need to do damage in Diablo right now.
Mm.
It gives you vulnerable for free. It's based on crit, so you automatically are building crit
Yeah.
on ring, gloves, all that
All your
stuff.
shit, yeah.
And you're going into the multiplier area with just that alone, doing your normal
Mhm.
damage, you're increasing your bone skill damage. Also, Necros they get another affix specifically for bone skills that is increased crit damage on bone skills. And it's just like, you fuckers could have created something for
Dude.
blood or shadow, or like the shadow's like, oh, you do more shadow dot damage. Good luck, bud.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're
But
just
it's like,
proccing that Shadow Blade, dude.
yeah, like I'm theory crafting a blood build that is gonna use blood surge for now, but I want to get to end game and use blood lance and like
Mm.
try and make something work. I think that blood lance can work in PvP. I think
Maybe,
there's
dude. I don't understand. Like, first of all, it wears off after 3 seconds. So like,
Mhm.
or however long it is, what, 3 or 4 or
Very
something like
short. It's
that. Yeah,
yeah,
it
2 or 3
so
seconds.
like, you know, even trying to ramp it up after that time, it's not even worth it after 3 seconds. Like, oh my god, it's you toss out one bone spear, you hit everyone, make them vulnerable. It ricochets, it comes
And then
back.
it comes
I'll see
back.
you later.
Also, if you have
GG,
the legendary, it
done.
explodes the whole way. It's like the
Oh,
dopest skill in the world.
give me a break, dude. Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, I think if there's a number one ability in the game, they got to look at and rework. It's Bloodlance, and then it's Boulder, and then I would
Yeah.
say Incinerate. Bloodlance is
Mhm.
a it is it, I just don't
It
ever
doesn't feel
see.
good to press the button, and that's the most important thing.
I
Yeah,
feel
I agree.
like Bloodlands should be something that you just like continually throw into a boss and like it just sticks in, sticks in, sticks in, sticks in, and then you can
Yeah.
use some way to like
Get
detonate it, right? So you can just
Right.
yeah,
keep throwing,
Like,
throwing, throwing, throwing.
Callista
Yeah, yeah,
and
Callista,
Luna.
like League of Legends, right? You just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So you, at least you've got like insane single target damage. So Bloodlance might become like the way to kill Uber Lilith, right? So you can just keep throwing them in, dodge, throw them in. The more you throw in, the more it starts to scale up, and you just got to keep doing it, and then you can do something to like detonate it, or you stop for a second, or 2 seconds, or 3 seconds, and then it explodes. So there's some other ways to do it, because obviously you can't double tap a button in this to be able to like make it do something else. But I feel like something like that would be cool with it, so that you can do more single target with Bloodlance than you could with like Bone Spear. That would make it
Yeah, that'd
viable
be-
for like boss killing.
That'd be a neat interaction, man. Like if you do that whole Callista thing where you could stack it on other people, and then I don't know, maybe somehow I don't know how you would integrate a like an explosion type thing. I don't know what it would be. Maybe
it could be a
after
timer-based thing
yeah,
where,
it could be
like,
where
after 3 seconds, if you haven't hit them with another blood lance, it explodes.
Yeah.
That would be, like, probably their easiest situation. Blizzard, if you're watching, I'm really good at this shit. I come up with dumb ideas for you all the time. My fee is around $100,000 an hour, but we can negotiate. We can talk about it. It's no
Around 100,000.
roughly
around, yeah.
Just a rough
on the low
estimate.
end.
We'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. So, like, I think that, like, one of the things that I was theory crafting in you know, my little reptile brain was that you would still use blood surge in the blood build, because you still need to get through the packs, right? You still need to do that.
Mhm.
But then you wouldn't take blood wave in the blood build, you would take blood lance as
Mm.
opposed, and then you're not taking an ultimate, but you're also basing uh a much easier way to get blood orbs so that you can reduce cooldowns of corpse or of blood mist to do corpse explosions, and then you're multiplying like all of these different things. That was my theory. Like, I've
Mm.
seen people do the bone storm with blood mist that nearly decrepify bone storm blood mist to get infinite blood mist.
Mm.
Blood mist doesn't corpse explosion like it used to.
Well, that
So
build.
there's a interesting thing that
Oh,
people.
what did they change about that? I forgot. Like
So
I
it
know it used to explode, but what is it now?
used to be 12 explosions, so it hit very very fast if you had 12 corpses on the ground. Now it's 5.
Ew.
So the max time, like you go invulnerable for 3 seconds, and then you have 5 explosions during that. So you're not clearing up your corpses quickly to maintain damage. But that's also why the guy that cleared hardcore 100 on Necro, he was invulnerable the whole time.
Uh-huh.
It took him like an hour
Right.
and a half or something like that to clear hardcore 100. The
Nightmare Dungeon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nightmare. Which is crazy. But yeah, if you're invincible the whole
it's
time,
insane.
then you're going to be able to do it.
But you know, it's one of those things where like now people are trying to run it in softcore and like optimize damage for it, which is cool. I think that's great. But it's one of those, like, we had this in beta where blood mist made you invulnerable permanently, basically, and you had cooldown reduction out the ass, and you were just like, oh, I'm just explosion. This is the popcorn build, right? that shit becomes a snooze. Like, just like Whirlwind becomes a snooze. Like, who wants to just be invulnerable to literally everything and kill everything without any question?
Well,
Trivializes the game when you get enough
well,
gear.
I would say about 85% of those people that love using Whirlwind
True.
will use it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
who wants to just sit there and shout in Whirlwind? Well,
People want to
I'll just
break
be
the
2
game.
seconds, guys. Right?
yeah, do your thing. That's funny though, man. I would love to see you try a crack at like an overpower blood build with Blood Lance and Surge. That would be super cool to
I think
check out.
there's a place for it because of the way the damage works in the game. Like, I've been workshopping how overpower works. Basically, overpower takes your HP and your fortify into its damage scaling, and then you can then multiply that with vulnerable and crit, just like you would any other thing. So you're actually adding a third bucket or a fourth bucket into this thing theoretically, because your all damage and your blood skill damage activates on overpowers too.
Mm, mm.
You can have a good base of like, I'm critting, I'm doing my normal damage. This is why like you can see it corpse tendrils is 75% because corpse tendrils
So good.
legendary is so insane.
So
It gives you,
good.
if you're using a two-handed weapon, it gives you 40% crit chance on using corpse tendrils and 120% crit damage on monsters affected by corpse tendrils. So
That's
you
what
can
I'm
get to
talking
a
about.
100% crit rate on Necro pretty easily. You get 40% from rings, like your natural is 40%. Sacrificing minions also makes it easier.
Mm,
And then beyond that, you get 40% from corpse tendrils, and then you would use
dude.
Bone Storm for the last 20,
Mm,
right? So, but if you want to take Bone Storm away, you're only at 80%. I think you can get more consistent damage with getting corpse tendrils down to a 6-second cooldown, so it's permanently up. And then you're using Blood Lance to dump your essence on single target rather than like a blood wave and using your overpowers in that way.
mm.
That's my theory. At least.
That would be interesting, dude. You ever want to freaking do a build? You got my Discord, man.
Oh yeah, I'll let you know. I'll shoot you over
I'll
the
fucking,
info,
I'll
and you can
knock
make
your
a video
socks
about it.
off,
Like,
man.
more than happy to throw something up and
I
help
would,
you out.
dude. I love making off meta shit. You,
Yeah,
bro. You give me a call. I'm right there, brother. Same,
Nice.
same goes to you, Ben. You ever want to make an incinerate build? 0%.
We're doing it,
We'll prove the
bro.
world wrong, buddy. We'll
I'm gonna
prove the
do
world
it.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it one
Ben's be
day.
sitting there for
Incinerate.
6 hours.
I'm gonna
crafting an
find a
incinerate
way
build.
to make Incinerate the highest damage Sork build,
Dude,
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be
Yo.
the 0. See here, all these fuckers 0% user. It's gonna be 0.01, and it's gonna be me. And that
you.
was 0.01 incinerating Uber Lilith.
Hey man, you got that unique shit. I'm trying to farm that because I got a Sork and I'm
Yeah.
trying to get that. You know what sucks is right now I actually just got that Fireball staff and man, Fireball, the damage is I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm only in World Tier 3, but I'm clearing Nightmare dungeons, whatever. But
Yeah.
man, I am destroying packs when I shoot that three Fireball like little thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I get the automatic crit on it. Oh my god, I obliterate people. It's fun.
How does that unique work with the bounce? Is that in the game?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got that as well. It's really annoying to use on Sork. So what this is, guys, if you don't know, is it gloves? I think it's gloves. When you fire fireball, it bounces, right? So it bounces and explodes, bounces and explodes, and bounces. I think it does it 3 times because that. The annoying thing is like if you got an elite or something, you're like a little pack, and they run at you. You fire it, it'll like bounce, hit them once, and it bounces off and bounces off. It doesn't do anything because it just like goes off and goes off. If the enemies are all in a nice line, it still kind of hits them like once, maybe twice, and the last one doesn't hit. And it's just like, I don't know, man, because I've tried like end game when you start pushing, when you get to like level 100. And you start pushing nightmare dungeons, right? And anything that's kind of like your level, or like 3 levels above you, 5 levels above you, most skills in the game work. They work. Whenever you start going to like, because I'm level 100, whenever I'm fighting things that are like mobs of 130, it goes up to 154, and that's what I've been doing at the moment. If you are not optimized for actual just ridiculous damage, like my Sork, I teleported in, I did ice shards. Ice shards hits like a machine gun, right? It goes like that. The highest damage hit I've had is one of those ticks hit 10 million. 10 million.
I saw that.
One tick hit 10 million. That was with using Fists of Fate and it is absolutely madness. I've quite regularly hitting multiple sets of 4 millions, 6
Have
millions,
you
and stuff like
integrated
that.
Fist of Fate into your builds?
Yeah, I'm using Fist of Fate, bro. I am using
What?
Fist of Fate because
So
it has immobilized. And on Sork, you want to have immobilized because that goes with your devouring. Is it devouring blaze? Passive, which boosts crit damage. But if they're immobilized, like I've got 6 points in that passive. It's
Mhm.
crit. It's a crit damage. It's like a multiplier of a multiplier, right? This it's absolutely bonkers. It's like 60. It's like times 60% like crit damage, right? Normally, but if they're immobilized, it's 150% instead of
Mhm.
60. So I want to immobilize, but Sork also works. It's if mobs aren't CC'd, you do like dog shit damage.
Yeah.
And I've got a two-hander to hit these kind of numbers. Got a two-hander, and I have aspect of control on it, which does more damage if you're hitting things that are frozen, stunned, and immobilized, but it actually counts as all of them. Right, so
Right.
I jump in with another unique. It's called Railments. It's a chest thing that pulls enemies towards me. And yeah, pulls enemies towards me, and it stuns them. So I jump in with teleport. It pulls them in, stuns them. Then I use Frost over. It freezes them. Fist of Fate has a chance to immobilize them, and that's where the damage goes absolutely bonkers. Because Fist of Fate, it makes your damage go from anywhere between 1% to up to, if you get a max roll, 300%. So that's why it's called Fist of Fate. It's all
So
lucky hit chance based. So if
I have
I
a question
go on.
about that because I had heard that someone did some testing and it is coded to roll lower more often.
Okay. Well, I mean, my
And so I
damage
was
when
wondering, have you felt that? Have you felt like you're because theoretically, Fists of Fate just increases your damage by 50% by existing if
Yeah.
you get a max roll, right? Because you're doing 150% damage. That's the average, right?
Yeah, that's the average. Yeah. Interesting.
my,
So
my
this
roll
becomes
is
like
290 out of 300, but it's
so the like
sacred. So I'm having
theoretically
to use
you're
a sacred item rather than an ancestral because it's the only one I've got at the moment.
right.
But
But
yeah,
again, theoretically, you're at 140%, or sorry, you're at 45% damage increase,
yeah.
right? If
But
that's the case.
the numbers are crazy because as I say, I have to specifically jump in, pull them in, freeze them. I jump back and then I fire off ice shards, and ice shards just hit loads
Right.
of things. And then I've got loads of stuff that makes it crit. I've got a really high crit chance. I got an extremely well optimized build, and I can
Mhm.
hit, as I say. If it doesn't crit, it might do like 400k damage. If it does crit, it can be anywhere between like 1.3 million to 10 million because of Fist of Fate. It goes wild. Very often I'm
Okay.
seeing multiple 4 millions, 6 millions from one cast of ice shards that hits like a machine gun. You see 4 mil just all pop up. It's crazy. But at endgame, you need that. So going back to this kind of discussion of skills that we had a minute ago, if you're doing stuff where you're kind of on eye level or just above you, a lot of the skills in the game work. But if you're
Yeah,
actually,
you could do anything you fucking want. You could
yeah,
play and incinerate.
yeah,
I've seen builds from I think Fextra Life where he was using Blood Lance and he was fighting guys his level. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if we're gonna put out guides, fighting fucking people our level, you could put out a guide on anything. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
exactly.
yeah, when you're fighting people your level, you can use anything you want. But like you were saying, once you start pushing those tiers as high as you can, 20, 25, 30 levels above you, 40, it start like, no, we're gonna start dwindling down to this very cookie cutter build that's only
Yes.
viable for this type of content.
Yes.
Like
So
there.
I had a
Sorry, go
question.
ahead.
There's right now, like, there's a massive damage disparity, and I know you guys probably feel it as well to a certain extent, where like you can hit anywhere from like 2K at like what you're at, and I've hit like 5 million severs. Like the same sever, I will press the same button, and it will do 2,000
Mhm.
damage to one monster,
Yeah,
5 million damage to another monster. No Fists of Fate, no nothing like
yeah.
that. How do you guys feel like because there's so many like multipliers here, this activates this, now multiplies this by this, and then this multiplies this. It's crazy because if you don't know that,
Mm,
you just nerf yourself,
I
right?
think to sort of get into this, I think it all comes down to like the nature of ARPGs, right?
Mhm.
First of all, they're never, ever, ever meant to be balanced. Like, this guy does 2, 3 more things differently than little Tommy across the street. He's hitting 10 million compared to little Tommy just logged on from playing Fortnite, and he's casting Sever and hitting for 2,000. So, like, the game's not meant to be balanced. And, like, if you understand the buckets, number one priority on any build, if you do not have vulnerability on your own, you're missing out on a ginormous
So
amount of
crazy.
damage.
So
It's
crazy.
it's mandatory to have some sort of vulnerability in your build, whether it be Storm Strike or whatever, Bone Splinters, whatever the fuck it is for any
Mhm.
class. That's why 90% of rogues are using Puncture. It automatically applies vulnerability. Like,
Yeah.
you need it. There's no world where you don't apply a vulnerability. And if you don't, you're missing out on a ginormous bucket of multiplier damage that you're shit out of luck. So it does suck in that sense, but honestly, I think it comes down to that ARPG essence of like, none of this is meant to be balanced anyways, so let's just see who can hit the 10 million damage faster.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
exactly.
I don't
Honestly,
know.
I
But I
feel
think
like sorry to
Go
just
ahead.
jump in.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like they need to add in like a unique or something that's general one for across all classes that like skills now apply vulnerability because that
Yeah,
opens up a shit ton of options
you know what? You
for
know what
loads of
sucks
classes.
also is that like on the Paragon board, there's the glyph called exploit. I'm sure you
Mhm.
guys know it. Once you encounter a target, it's different for some classes. I know Rogue. This is how it works, where the second you damage them, they're automatically vulnerable for 3 seconds.
Mhm.
So that's one of the best glyphs, if not the best in the game, because you can kill a mob and an elite monster in 3 seconds
Oh yeah.
very easily. If you have all your shit rolling and you're dialed in, you'll definitely kill them in 3 seconds. So automatically applying vulnerability to everyone is huge. And I know that other classes don't have it. I'm pretty sure Sorks, that's not how it works for Sorcerer with
It doesn't.
exploit on there. It's like, yeah, and
It's
that's a
it's
huge
just a
issue.
multiplier. So you
Yeah.
have to use
Frost
things like
Nova.
Frost Nova. Yeah. Frost
Yeah.
Nova. Or if you're
You have to.
ice shards, you can choose to make ice shards apply vulnerability. So you can get away with it that way. But this is why everyone and their mother playing Sork is using Frost Nova. It's actually really good for like all builds
Exactly.
anyway. But yeah, you can get like plus Frost Nova skill on your boots. So anything with that is quite valuable. So things like move speed, plus skills to Frost Nova, plus skills to teleport. You have those for you on a pair of boots. It doesn't matter what the fourth one is because you can re-roll it. I mean, I've got that with intelligence on, and that's like best in slot, right? It's a really good pair of boots to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to use that. But it also makes the play style for Sork very one-sided because it's always like teleport in, use Frost Nova to apply vulnerability, and then do your damage.
Yeah.
That is, you
Yeah,
have to
like
constantly do mini setups.
that's what I'm saying. Like I think for every single class out there, there's that ability option that you absolutely need, and in the sense of like, is there actual diversity? Is there actual choice here? Or when I play a sorcerer, I have to grab Frost Nova because it's a giant freeze and a CC, and it sets up a bunch of other shit and vulnerability. I have to grab Teleport because if not, I have no mobility. Same
Mhm.
thing with Necromancer. If you don't grab Blood Mist, you don't have an Unstoppable.
Mhm.
Like, right? I'm pretty sure that's how that works,
Yep.
right?
That's it. Yeah.
You're a fucking dead man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to take
It's
Blood
my
Mist. Like,
fault.
that's a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
the same thing with Barbarians. Like, the shouts are just so much stronger than anything else. Like,
Yeah.
so if they sort of, and the thing is I don't think they should nerf that shit. They should just buff the other stuff. Like, they
Yeah.
need to bring stuff up. Don't bring things down because that makes gameplay boring. When you
There
bring
needs to
things
be a
up,
reasonable like reason to take these other skills.
I
Cause
agree.
yeah, don't nerf buff because right now we're in a place where build disparity or build differences are so minimal. Like,
Yeah,
but we're
I
getting the
agree.
damage right. They're getting the
I agree.
damage where it wants to be, right? They want to have that top end be like 17 million. Like I've seen some bone spirits hit for like 115 million, right? Bone spirit, which is one of the hardest hitting skills in the game, right? That makes sense. That makes sense. And it has to be like a perfect storm of a situation where everything is perfectly set up, right? But that bone spirit on average is going to hit like maybe eight,
Yeah,
9 million, right?
yeah.
So that's fine. I agree with that. I don't want to see another barb hitting 4 quintillion damage ever again. Like I played D3 when it said like 1T and you have no frame of reference of what a trillion damage truly is, and it's like on like a forsaken monster or like a shaman, and you're like that shaman could have beat the shit out of Bale in Act 2 or something like that, you know what I mean? or like Asmodan in Act 3 or something, right? It's just that you lose the idea and the power scaling and the idea of how your character is actually progressing when you get
I
into
agree.
that damage difference.
I
I think
agree.
up to 100 million, cool. 100 to like 200 million, fine. When we're getting into billions, no, I don't want
Yeah,
that.
I agree with the millions of damage because in order to do something like that, there's a lot of parameters that need to be set up. Like if you're a necromancer for a bone spirit to hit that hard, you got to make sure you have full essence. Then you got to get the corpse activated. Then you got to pull them all in with tendril. Then you got to aim it right and then make sure they got all the debuffs active. Bone
Mhm.
storm active, boom, one shot explode. Like I understand that if you want to go the cheese one shot build,
Yeah.
dude, that's cool. Like I don't mind that, but like the billions of damage, absolutely. And I think I saw the same barbarian clip where he was using rupture or some shit on the world boss.
Yeah.
Absolutely one shotted the world boss in World Tier 4. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like that's ridiculous. Obviously that should never be allowed, but I do think I think build diversity it could be there potentially. They just need to tweak some stuff. Like without vulnerability, your build feels bad. Like that is just the way it is. Like I was running Incinerate and not using Frost Nova last night, and I was like, yeah, no, this is impossible. It's impossible. There's no world I could use Incinerate without using Frost Nova. And then I swapped to Frost Nova Fireball, and I got that staff that shoots out 3 fireballs at once. And it changed everything so fast and so dramatic. I was one-shotting groups of enemies, and
Yeah.
I was in blind burrows, and there's like those little spider critters.
Yep.
And if you use the fireball enchantment, I shoot one fireball and it just goes and it just like chains to all of them, and they all just die. And it's
One
like,
thing, the sound of these things happening,
yeah,
it's so
It
satisfying,
is
yeah,
right?
they did
satisfying.
good,
Like,
man. They
oh,
did good. They did good.
yeah, but continue what you're saying. Sorry.
No, you're good. And listen, the sound design is fucking
They're
amazing.
killing it. They're
Yeah,
really
it
good.
is
They
pretty
did an
good.
amazing job. I was just saying, like, without vulnerability and without certain things in your build, the build diversity, and it just feels shitty, man. It just feels shitty. Like there is zero chance someone's gonna go at max level and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna try out Bloodlands today." Like
Right.
I don't see that ever happening. I don't
I'm gonna
like.
do it, but I'm gonna be sad the whole time.
Let's do it, dude.
On eye level, on eye level. Skyy,
Yeah.
I just want to double check because we're nearly 2 hours in, bro. It's quite a long time. How are you
Shit.
doing?
Holy-
Yeah, I've just realized how long
Um,
we've been going.
I
Do
could
you-
I could go for another like 30 minutes or so. I
Okay.
do have some shit I
Okay.
do have to
Yeah, of
handle,
course.
but
That's
I'm
why I
good.
wanted
I'm
to
having a
ask.
great time.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's cool, bro. I just really, I literally just realized how long we've been going for. So I was like,
Imagine,
okay,
imagine,
let's check before we use up all your
imagine I
night.
was like, oh, 2 hours. I was like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. Take it easy.
Yeah.
All right, bye. All right, so,
I
Bye.
mean, that's totally
Gone.
understandable. We've had people that other podcasts and stuff where it's like that 1.5 hour mark is it. You like they need to go, and then you
Yeah.
hit it after talking. You're just like, oh, we're at an hour and 28 minutes. You have to leave right now, and they're like, okay, bye everybody, and then that's it. Shout out to John.
It's all good.
It
Okay, so
happens.
I want
People on
to
a schedule.
I want to move this forward a minute. Another kind of question stuff because obviously I said I've mentioned kind of before about having like a big rant and things about things that I wasn't happy with the game, things that I kind of wanted changing. Skyy, can I ask you, like from what you've experienced so far, are there any changes to the game that you would like to see, or any kind of like wish list stuff that you'd be like, oh man, I just wish
Oh
that was in the
yeah,
game?
I got a couple. I think if they implement, because I'm a big PvP guy. I'm a big PvP guy. I know DJ
I'm in.
is too, dude. He's salivating at the mouth here in PvP.
Yeah.
So I'm a big PvP guy. I think if they implemented some sort of templated, structured, some sort of game modes, whether it be 3v3, 5v5, 10v10, even battle royale, capture the
gets
flag.
it.
I don't care what it is. I think
Understand.
that would be, and I think it would cater to a lot of players. Right now, I don't want to go inside the fields of hatred because then I have a storm wolf up my ass, one-shotting me with a basic attack. Like I don't want to do that, and it's not fun. Even
Yeah.
though it's cool, it's pretty cool too, hopping in there and one-shotting people too. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel good. So I think if they had some sort of like game modes where they implement like 3v3, 5v5, whatever, and template the amount of skill points you have, maybe you have like a separate tab where it's like, okay, this is my build PvP loadout number 1, number 2, whatever. I don't know. They'll have to figure that shit out. It's not my job. But
I mean, you're describing Lost Ark arenas right now.
that
Like,
yeah,
and
man, that
which
sounds
is good
great.
fun.
it
Sign
was a
me up.
magical experience
Yeah.
Sign
for
me up,
a
man.
while. But
I think
they-
I was just gonna to wrap it up. I was just gonna say I think if they add that, I think it would cater to a lot of different players that are itching for PvP. I am a PvPer. I don't love PvE in World of Warcraft. I hit Glad a couple times. It was the most fun thing I've ever done, beating the shit out of people. I love it. I also grew up in those Call of Duty lobbies where like, you kill people and then at the end, they actually join both the teams into one voice chat and then you're just shit talking.
oh yeah, this is
Like
a whole
I
different world.
love it, dude. I love PvP. I love beating the crap out of people, especially with non-meta builds. Like, I know one day maybe DJ will go inside the Fields of Hatred with the Bloodlance build.
Bloodlance, yeah.
Yeah, he'll hop in there
We'll see.
and make something happen.
Gonna
But
be there,
Every
that's
incinerate.
fun.
Like
Incinerate, flamethrower build.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big one for me. Other than that, I would say PvP is big, and then also maybe some. You know how in Lost Ark they have some really incredible like dungeons and raids or whatever they're called in that game. I actually never got into the end game. I only did arenas in that game, but they have some incredible raids with stories that even you could go completely solo. And the boss, they have like 5, 6, 7 phases in a boss fight that's like super intricate. It changes the scenery. Like I don't know, maybe you're fighting on top of this thing and then it breaks and then you're like a free fall and then you land into another environment and then like I would love to see them take some risks in terms of PvE content as well, because it does seem like, and I don't blame them. I mean, they played the safe route with their hand. Like, they played the safe route of, okay, we're going to do rifts again in the form of nightmare dungeons. We're going to have, there's a couple other things too off the top of my head I'm forgetting, but they played.
like bounties.
Yeah, bounties, that too.
Mhm.
Like, and that's
Your
fine.
Whisper's
That's all.
the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's all cool stuff, and I think it's good, and I think it's necessary and mandatory in this type of game.
Mhm.
But maybe add to it. Maybe give me something different. I don't know. I would like something brand new that I haven't experienced before. That's like holy shit. Diablo 4 has this. Like you
Mhm.
guys have to come try this. Like I would really think that would I think that would be really great. But
So to piggyback off that, are you feeling like the framework of Diablo is there, and you're happy with the game's
100%.
combat?
100%. The
Yeah.
combat is fucking amazing, man.
Mhm.
I don't care what anyone says. And I love the like aside from pushing nightmare dungeons and all that nonsense, I know it's a huge part of the game, but coming from just a casual, just gamer, forget the content creation, forget the this and the guides and the meta, whatever. Diablo feels great to play. Like I don't by the way, I don't like ARPGs. I'm going to be real with you guys. I didn't like playing Lost Ark. I didn't like playing PoE. But
Mhm.
the second I tried Diablo 4, I was like, wow, this feels like butter. Like they put that Blizzard polish on it and it feels clean. It feels good to use. And like I feel great using these abilities and like it feels really good. The framework for me, in my opinion, it's 100% there. They have a very strong structure. I really think it's just about, adding on to it and not playing so safe all the time.
Yeah,
And doing
for sure.
something a little
I
bit
think they
different.
will. I think they've got a good chance to make a major impact on the market. I mean, to Ben and I, like the end game of Lost Ark is what Diablo feels like now. Like it feels good. It feels like good to play. So like when you're doing like harder content and like Lost Ark, you have a lot of agency and you have a lot of decision making with your skills. And I feel like that happens here in Diablo. It's not just like mash one button, be done.
Yeah,
Unless you're playing
I agree.
Barbarian, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry, my
Well,
bad.
there
I
is.
didn't mean-
There's one thing that I would like to see changed with the combat with Diablo, because I
Mm.
do think it is really good with Diablo 4, and that's the fact that it's very difficult to like dodge attacks. When an enemy comes up around you in like Path of Exile, you can like run around an enemy and they're like miss, miss, miss. You can't really do that in Diablo. And when you're fighting things again, kind of on your eye level, maybe 10 levels above you, whatever, like it's not that big of an issue. But pushing high level dungeons, anything that's like tier 19 above, a normal white skeleton mob will one shot you. Anything will just one shot you. From a Sork's perspective, yes, you've got things for like immunes and all that, right, which you have to utilize. But a normal little, the shaman summons little minions, they come up to you, go, yeah, and you're dead. And they run really fast, like twice, if not 3 times as fast as you sometimes. And they go like that.
Yep.
And you can even be dodging, you can be moving around them, you can be like around, and they hit you. So it's really weird. I've even heard like Zizran and stuff talk about this quite a lot. Like, and again, from playing a lot of Path of Exile, you can just run around in circles and things just miss you, and they like run up to you and miss, and run up to you and miss. But if you keep moving, it's okay. But in Diablo 4, you can't do that. It's very difficult to like move around. So auto attacks for me are kind of annoying sometimes because I feel like they're just guaranteed to hit you. That's the only thing that I'm kind of like, this is kind of a bit annoying. But that is also extremely high level play because it one shots you, right? So
I will say there was also one problem that I actually do keep encountering, and it's when I'm trying to move through mob packs and sort of, like gather them all together so I could do one big AoE, go fuck yourself move. It's really tough when I'm trying to do that, but I'm clicking through the mobs and then my character will start auto attacking. That's also a pretty big pain in the ass as well sometimes. And I don't know if there's a way around that to where
there is.
Yeah.
I change things. My left mouse button only does move and interact. You can actually set it so it only does move. You can set it so it does move and interact, or you can set it so it does move, interact, and attack, which is what is default. So you can take off the attack option. So I've got 2 buttons on the side of my mouse. So my right click is my core skill. My left click is move and interact only, and then I've like bound stuff. Obviously, I've got like Q, W, E, and R as skills, and then like the T skill is actually one of my side mouse buttons, and then mount is my other one. So I've moved.
Naga.
Oh, you got an MMO
Oh
mouse.
yeah, bro.
Ready to go,
bro.
Sure,
That was
dude.
one
What
of
do
the
you think?
first things I did.
I'm not
Honestly,
fucking around here, dude.
it's game changing. It's game changing. Also, if you put mount up and down on one of those side buttons, bro, it's so smooth. It is so smooth.
Yeah, I separated. It's just a little box, and not a lot of people see in the key config. And it just says separate move and attack. And so I did that. My move is right click, and it's only to move. That's all I have it at. It cannot attack, it cannot interact with anything. And then I have move and interact on F. So if I'm like, like old like Lost Ark, pretty much.
Like Lost Ark.
And then QWER is my skills, and then I have mouse button skills as well.
Yeah.
So it just makes it like I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. And that was the biggest, like when I played in the beta, I was like, unless they fix this right now, I'm not gonna play this game. Right. Because it's just it was frustrating to exist in the world having all of those 3 things be like truncated in one button. And it was like, nah, I'm good. But they fixed it, they have it, and it's so highly recommend. Like
100%.
change that around.
Definitely,
it'll
definitely
take
do it.
a couple days to figure out your buttons again, because you'll be like, oh, I meant to interact with it. But like being able to just stop, like if I'm kiting backwards and then turn around and reap at max range, it's like it's a game changer. It's so different because my left click will stop me from moving and use the skill.
Yeah, I'm trying to get used to these even like MOBA type tactics. Like I used to play League a lot too. I'm not gonna lie. I used to play League for years, and that's a nice mouse. I used to play League, and there's obviously the kiting mechanics where you attack and then you have it hotkeyed to where you can just move whatever. So like just trying to get into the fix of things like that, because I'm used to just playing MMOs. I love MMOs. They're my favorite thing to play ever. Like when Ashes comes out, Pantheon, if it ever fucking decides to come out,
Pantheon,
Riot MMO, whatever. Like I want to play those games.
Have you checked out Chrono Odyssey?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
It looks fantastic. Cool. Yeah. Looks incredible.
Cool. We'll have to. I'll chat with you about like what your opinions are on like Korean MMOs and stuff like that, because I always like to pick people's brains about stuff like that. Because being in the industry, like playing MMOs since I was like literally 8 years, I think 8 years old was my first real true MMO, which was like Ultima Online, like back in the day.
Wow.
And then like Quest after that, and then
wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
dude, you're the goat then.
I,
You're the
I
freaking
wouldn't say I'm the goat. I'm just old.
There you are. Yeah, that's it though. That's
I'm an
it. That
old
makes
goat.
dude,
The
there it
old
is.
goat.
You played the OGs. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about at a young age. Like I was introduced to World of Warcraft when I was 8. You were introduced to fucking Ultima and EverQuest.
And
That
Ultima
is
Online. That shit was.
Ooh,
If you
it
want to
really
have
is.
like an experience, thinking about like I played and this is going to be a small tangent. Ultima Online had 2 worlds after their first expansion, and it was the same world layered on top of itself, but one was anything goes, murderer, do whatever the fuck you want. Literally kill anybody. It does not matter.
Mhm.
You can attack people in town, guards will just one shot you, like that type of shit. And then there was the blueberry realm, which is where that came from, is called calling people blues or blueberries because you could only attack if there was like a guild versus guild situation in that realm. Like you couldn't just open PvP. But like if you went into a dungeon in Ultima Online and you didn't prep yourself for a way out, like people would just come in and kill you. It did not matter. They steal all your gear. Everything dropped on the ground. It was the
That's
most hardcore
crazy.
shit I've ever experienced, and it built me to be a different. I
That's
feel
nuts.
like I'm so ready for seasons because I'm like I'll lose everything. I don't give a shit. I played Ultima, dude.
Yeah.
Like I've lost some of the greatest gear that game has ever seen.
Oof.
You know,
Mad.
like
That kind of
just
thing just
farming it.
doesn't fly nowadays. It doesn't fly.
Yeah,
Apart from things like Escape from Tarkov, right? When you
yeah,
like,
yeah,
get a
yeah.
loadout, but you can just like buy the
That's
loadout and then off you go in, right?
what's so interesting. It's like a micro MMO with these like Dark and Darker is a prime example. Like it's like an isolated MMO. You have this you know, you get geared up over like a day rather than getting geared up over a year, and then
Mhm.
you could lose it instantly. And I think it's a great market for.
Yeah, of course. It's that type of like that battle royale quick hit and fix, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the same as like League in a way, like you get
Mhm.
powerful in a 30-minute session.
Yeah.
Like even to that extent, like you get so powerful, you get all your gear and blah 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 and then match is over. So
Over.
like
Yeah.
do it again. It's that same sort of essence of like battle royales, like you go in there, you get your loadout finally, whatever, and then game over. So like people love that quick hit, quick fix thing. And
Mhm.
as you go on through the scale of games, like Diablo's a one where it's instead of a day or 30-minute session, it's a 3-month session. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
so it's just one of those things. People love
So
that.
I wanted to kind of be able to let you go soon. But we usually do like a Q&A with people in chat if they had questions for you or us, but predominantly you. So friends, if you want to ask some questions to Skyy, now that you have him here, have a chance to interact with him a little easier, you know, on his stream and stuff like that, and we'll chat about something else while the people are formulating questions. Usually Ben and I will go through it and check it. Um, yeah. So someone brought up Camelot Unchained. Dude,
Camelot and
that
Chains.
shit. No
Wow.
way. Brown Sugar, I'm sorry. I love did you ever play Dark Age of Camelot Sky?
No, dude,
Okay.
no.
That
Never
was
got
like
into
right
that.
that was the MMO right before World of War. And it
Really.
was another one of those very special experiences. Like World of Warcraft was the 2 armies. Dark Age of Camelot was 3 armies, and every realm had individual classes. There was no
Ooh,
similar classes in each realm. So
ooh, that's cool.
it was a very, very different Star Wars Galaxies, like
That's
another
cool as
sort of
shit, yeah.
crazy ass MMO for its time, where it was like uncharted territory where you have like massive bugs that shape an economy. There was this thing in Star Wars where only a certain amount of people were allowed to be Jedis on a server. You couldn't just make a Jedi.
So
You had to
cool.
unlock force powers to become a Jedi. And people figured out that you had to unlock 3 specific force powers and it was different for every character. So you
Oh
could just
shit.
go
Wow.
down the entire list of things that you could max out and then eventually become a Jedi, so to speak. And they were like, if you were a Jedi, you were killing 50 people at a time. And
Shit.
rather than like you were a bounty hunter or something like that, you were just like, oh, pew, 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 you know, like,
Mhm.
and the Jedi's like flipping around, just like destroying and swaths of people. Like these are the MMOs that started out. It's fucking crazy to think about.
Yeah,
That
I
was
heard Galaxies was incredibly in depth too. Like that was an intense one. Did you guys ever play like City of Heroes or anything like that?
played
That's
City.
another one. Yeah, that's another one I grew up on,
I
man.
didn't
I
Yeah.
was
play it.
super young.
Legend of
Yeah, I mean,
Mia was mine.
there's so I mean, you basically played them because they have so many things that come from these games nowadays. Like
Mhm.
like the City of Heroes aspect of it, like it was a superhero game, but general, you were just like dungeon fighting for the most part. You were like in buildings and stuff like that. You weren't
Mhm.
flying around and fighting and stuff like that, which is what people thought it would be. Like be like Superman, where you're just like punching a hole in a skyscraper,
Mhm.
but it was more like you were like Spider-Man or something. It was awesome. It was super fun. But
Good times.
Matrix Online was like
Oh
crazy.
my God, Matrix Online.
I
That
never
was
played
like a,
that either. Was it? Did you guys play it?
it
Did
was
you?
I
it
never
was
played that one. I looked it up
Oh,
online a lot of times though.
yeah.
Matrix Online. Oh
yeah.
man, that's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
I'll bring it back to Diablo 4 for a minute. Sky, what
Yeah,
do you
go ahead.
think? What do you think about the world bosses in Diablo 4?
I think
Do you?
they're okay. I mean, there's nothing really to write home about there. It's just
Yeah.
a giant like sponge that people go whip that thing's ass, and then that's it. I don't think the mechanics aren't real mechanics. Like they're like if you played World of Warcraft and you push like real raids and like there's some crazy shit sometimes that
Yeah.
goes on, especially in retail.
A
Like
lot of
I don't really like retail WoW, but one thing I will say is they in the new raids that do come out, like they always got some fresh new mechanics that are insane. So like world bosses, and I have a sky view of everything that's going on. Like, I'm not gonna get hit by nothing. Like, what's gonna hit me right now? Like, what? Like, so I don't know. The world bosses, they're cool, I guess, but there's nothing serious going on there. I think if they actually did some real raid type bosses where there's like real mechanics that take I don't know, maybe three people, like maybe you need to split up the raid. Like three people need to go to this sector to start clearing out these mobs. And if not, then the boss is going to get enraged. And then he'll do more damage. He'll just one shot everyone. And then, like, it's too easy to dodge everything. It's too easy to just, like, you process the fight and learn all the mechanics in the first encounter. Like a Shava, every single one of them. It takes one encounter for me. I don't know about everyone else. One encounter for me to learn the whole mechanics. I'll never die again. Like it's as simple as that.
yeah, for like these bosses specifically.
Yeah, like they're very, very, very straightforward and
Ben, we should get him in a Brel. Get him in a
Yeah,
yeah, get him in a Brel,
Belshazzar, Lost Ark. But
dude.
yeah, with default, like I thought the world bosses were a joke. If I'm honest, I think they look kind of cool to start with.
yeah, I
If I'm
agree.
being completely upfront, I think they're pathetic. I would
Yeah, I
actually
agree.
go to that. I
But
think you kill them. They don't have any unique drops to themselves. I'm not talking about unique
yeah,
items. I'm talking about like you can only get this drop or something from that.
The only
Item. I
thing
don't
they
know.
have is
Maybe cosmetics. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
just cosmetic. That's all they
Yeah.
have is like they'll have some mount armor occasionally or a trophy or something, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but
Mhm.
like when I see a world boss pop up on the map, I'm like, oh, world boss in 15 minutes. Okay,
Cool.
am I gonna remember to do this thing or
Yeah,
whatever?
exactly.
Like it
it
doesn't
doesn't
feel
really
like
matter.
an event. Like I want it to be like even if they spawned like fucking once a week and they amped up the difficulty to hell high water, like let's do that rather than like every 6 hours it's a joke, it's farmable. I hate that shit. I hate content that's just on farm. That makes me quit World of Warcraft every time I do. Like when you get into that new raid tier, I'm sure you know DJ what I'm talking about. You get into that new raid tier, and then once it's on farm, like
It's boring.
uh,
Super boring.
yeah, it gets boring. Like when
Same
you're
thing.
progressing.
Any MMOs like that, really. I mean,
Yeah.
you get that feeling where anything that's on farm, you lose all sense of what
Yeah.
the progression was to get there.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
one thing, Brown Sugar brought up a question that I want to ask all you guys as well. Not Diablo related, but what games, Sky, we'll start with you. What games are you looking forward to most in the near future?
I think I mentioned a couple of them. Ashes, Pantheon, if that game, if I don't know when the hell that would ever come out, 10 years from
Mhm,
now. Riot MMO, man, if Lance was here, he'd give you a whole list.
mhm.
But primarily, to be real, like MMORPG based games. I don't really like playing single player games. Like I never found the interest in playing like I know, for example, the new Final Fantasy game. I'm pretty sure that just came out, right?
No, it comes out later this month, but
Yeah, whenever it comes out.
they did the demo and
I'll
people are like, it's unreal.
Really? It's yeah, like even then, like I'm not a big fan of like single player type games. I like
Mhm.
MMOs, I like community, I like a world that I can get lost in. I like story, I like fantasy, that's what I love. You know what I mean? I love that
Nice.
type of shit. Like I even played SWOTOR. I don't know if you played SWOTOR at all. That was one of the
I
MMOs
actually,
I used.
but
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. They're just a lack of content in the end game, but overall, I would say MMOs are my big one. RPGs. Other than that, I mean, I don't really care for shooters. I don't care for battle royales. I don't care for like not story mode, single player like RPGs.
like not like an Elden Ring type of game.
Yeah, no, I passed
Oh,
on that one as well. Even
It's a
though
oh,
great
it
game.
was so
people
good,
love that game. Yeah,
bro.
people
Elden Ring was
sing
absolutely
fans.
boss. But if you don't like it,
It's one of
fair
those things
play.
That
like
one.
a lot of these games are coming out are mimicking MMOs, but like dialing them down to the
Mhm.
single player thing. Like I think the first one that really did that was like Final Fantasy 12, where um they had made Final Fantasy 11 MMO full blown, but they took the mechanics from that game and then put it into like an RPG. It was live action, like you weren't waiting around for fights and stuff, but like that type of thing I think is happening more often,
Yeah.
where they're taking this massive open world idea of the MMO where it came from and trying to dial it down so that you are the true hero. And
Yeah.
I think that's important for the future of gaming.
Yeah, I agree.
Like making people have that disconnection from reality is always so important when like so
Yeah,
much of stuff is
dude.
going on in real life, and
Yeah.
being able to sit there
And
and
this is
feel
a
like you're rewarded, you know.
this is another I don't even know if I should get into it. I was just gonna say like it's another touchy subject that a lot of people are going crazy about right now in the whole gaming industry of like I don't even know. I'm not gonna get into it. I was
I
just
mean,
gonna say simply,
we're very open about stuff. You're
Yeah.
more than welcome to
I'm
get into it
I'm
if
sure I'm sure you guys will agree with me on everything I would say. Maybe I'll mention it off stream, but
Okay.
just I want to be not myself. I don't want to be a part. I don't want to like involve all the crazy nonsense of
yeah.
let's just say new age nonsense of today. I don't want that shit in my games. Like I just want to be able to go in a video game. I want to look like a super good looking guy that's ripped and I want to go kick a dragon's ass, man. Like I
Yeah.
don't
The
like that's what I
fantasy.
want to do.
Yeah,
Like
the
I want to
fantasy,
do
bro.
that.
And all the
Like
politics wash away and you're just enjoying the game for what it is, like
yeah,
it,
nowadays what people like try to do when they're creating games is they try to involve this shit. In my opinion, I call it shit, but they try to involve all this crap where like just a bunch of like new age worldviews and stuff into a game, and it's like, dude, I don't even want to think about that right now. Like,
mhm.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't
I
even think the people that are interested in that shit even want to see that in the game either. So like, I
I
don't
just
know.
want fantasy. I just want fantasy.
Yeah, dude,
You,
I
you
just
described it so right. I just want to be like have like an 8-pack, fuck it, a 12-pack, and I
yeah,
want to fight
yeah,
5
dude.
dragons at the same time. That's
Like, yeah, dude,
that's
like
what I
Lost
want.
Ark. Like, I remember in the character creation, like the dude was super good looking. He was ripped head to toe, like boom, like badass. I'm like, yeah, dude, sign me up. I want to look like this guy all day. Fuck me. I don't want to be the
He's punching
yeah,
dragons. That's who
dude.
I'm hanging out with.
I don't want to be the 5'9" freaking little kid anymore. I want to
We're
be the
we're all nerds. So like we all
yeah,
grew
dude.
up bullied. We all know what it was like, like
Right.
I get it. The thing that I do think that is important about gaming as a whole is inclusivity when it
Mm,
comes to being able to bring somebody into that like make them feel like they are important. And that's the
100%.
most that like we've all been marginalized as gamers,
Yeah, man.
and
100%.
making somebody feel important
It's
and
everything.
seen is very important for the gaming industry as a whole, because you don't find that in many mediums right
Yeah.
now, as like artwork is very subjective, so it becomes skewed by
Mhm.
the perceiver, whereas video games are you are playing a specific thing. It's not there's no like the interpretation of it, unless it's like a horror game or something, whatever it is. The interpretation isn't there. It's you're playing something, you're living a storyline, you're
Yeah.
experiencing something.
Yeah.
And I think
I
that inclusivity is important, and
I
making
agree.
people feel special.
I agree, and I think that goes back to the point we were making. I don't know if it was before stream or during the beginning or whatever. Like us as content creators, I think it's amazing that we can take these people that I'm just gonna say it bluntly, that don't have a lot of friends or people to talk to or hang out with. You know, it's not exactly easy. I don't make new friends, bro. Are you kidding me? Like, you think I'm gonna go out and go to a bar? Like,
Meet
go
people,
have
bro,
it?
awful.
Fuck that, dude. Yeah, that
Bro,
sounds
it gets
terrible.
harder
So,
when you hit like 36. I'm
Yeah.
36.
yeah,
DJ's
that sounds.
37.
Imagine as a 36-year-old going to a bar alone to make friends.
I mean, like,
What
hey,
in the
bro,
hell is going
you
on?
you wanna play? You like games?
So,
No.
Us three
so
right now going to
yeah,
a bar and existing in the same bar and then like looking at each other and being like, well, I don't know if that guy plays video games.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Drink my
You know,
too,
so us as content creators, to go back to that point of, like, I was very blessed to have my brother to grow up with, to talk to things about, like, oh my God, and wow, I just hit 40, I got my epic mount finally, or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
now it's like we get to bring these communities together, and like I was saying earlier, we take them, we throw them in a fucking room, and then I close the door, and then they all just make friends with each other, and it's amazing. It really, really, really is.
It
It's
really
something so
is.
special. I love checking in on the Discord and all these people talking and chatting and making friends, and then, you know, grouping up and doing, like, it feels so good to me
Yeah.
that, like, not that I made the friendship, but I just, like I said to you guys before, I'm like the event organizer. Like, I just get them all in one space and I say, hey, go make friends, and then that's it. Like, I love that, and like you were saying, inclusivity, to feel like you belong somewhere and you're loved and you have friends, and even sometimes in great cases, lifelong friends. Like, it's a really, really special thing, and I think it's
Absolutely.
amazing that video games does that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's it, because we're all, we're all making videos and things on like Diablo 4. We're playing Diablo 4, and then you're talking with other people that are passionate about like Diablo 4. Sometimes, the passion's just like for a little bit. People kind of play the hype and then they go. But other times, people come in, they stay with you, and then if you're like streaming and stuff, and they come back to streams over and over again. I get them in game. We play like dungeon stuff with them. We get them on voice in the streams and things, and they even become like part of the streams, part of the community, and it's very special, and I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
Very blessed to be able to
That's
have it.
such a special feeling too when you just meet somebody. Like, I just had a guy come into stream named Chimmy, and he's a trucker, and he drives around the United States, and he literally just dropped off a package, or like a like, not a package, it's like 70,000 pounds of package, but like a mile away from where I grew up.
Wow,
And it's like that, you don't
that's
it's
so
a cool
cool.
experience to just be able to say, dude, like, you're going to my town, you're going to my
Yeah,
town,
that's
you know,
so
like,
cool, man.
you're just some random dude on the internet experiencing the world. I could show you some recommendations for food, and now we have a
Nice.
connection in
Yeah,
it.
no, for real, it's
About
cool,
Diablo,
man.
you know what I mean?
I love it. Like, even meeting you guys, like, honestly, it was a pleasure, and I was excited because I want to get involved with more content creators. Like, bro, I'm sitting here in a bedroom 24/7, like, staring at the walls, working 16,
Yeah.
20 hours a day. Like, sometimes, like, it's nice to talk to people that know what I'm going through and know
Oh
what
yeah.
what I'm doing. So, like, meeting you guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've had an
Thank you for
amazing,
being here.
amazing
We
time.
Yeah.
appreciate you. Like,
My pleasure, man. It was
Appreciate
fun.
it.
I had an amazing
yeah.
time.
Well, we're
We
going to be doing more podcast. We generally kind of do podcasts about like every other week, DJ, and
Yeah,
maybe
and so
sometimes a little bit more, but
yeah, going forward, now that everything's kind of settled in and we're here for more of a long haul type of situation, obviously, like, we're not really going anywhere. I'll be playing other video games. I'm more of like, I want to do everything, but also still focus on Diablo. I know Ben's focused on Diablo right now as well, so we're not going anywhere, and so we're always here to chat, and like, everybody knows that, like, we're live, we're content creators, we're here for you guys, because without you we have nothing, right? And that's the most important thing. We appreciate you being here and enjoying something that we all love together. It's great, it's a great experience. That's why I make these podcasts and like start all this stuff. It's just like being able to just spout
pick your
shit and
brains.
talk
Yeah,
about
just
video games. It's
talk
fucking
to
funny.
people
It's
that are
awesome.
passionate about the same kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, Skyy, like, I mean, if you ever want to come back on in the future, there might be some opportunities we can
Yeah,
get in.
absolutely.
Maybe even with like another content creator, there might be like 4 of us or so we can
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah, man.
Try again because
super fun.
we've had a couple of people on, and we'll be looking to get a couple more people on and stuff as well. But yeah, if you're ever down for doing it again in the future,
would you be interested in grabbing your brother too to do one?
Yeah.
You guys
Hell
do
yeah.
together. We could set up a
Man,
time. I'm
Lance.
very flexible. That'd be
Lance
awesome,
is,
right?
he's an incredibly like intellectual, smart. He knows everything about everything. Like I'm more of like the kid who dances around, gets all the attention, whatever. But then he'll come in, man, and he'll light you up with some knowledge and some truth. He's incredible. So yeah, I would love to, and I'm sure he would love to just sit and chat and talk too, man.
Yeah.
he's been in chat. Yeah, he's been in my chat. So
Yeah, he's cool, man.
Lance, oh, my time to shine. You know it, bro.
Whenever if you want to set something up for like a month from now, we can accommodate. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Ben and I are we make it work. We make it happen. So
That's
man,
it.
I mean, I got your guys' Discord now, so I can really just hit you up whenever. I want that Bloodlands build, and I want that
We'll figure it
Incinerator
out.
build.
Don't worry.
Well,
I'm
I'll
with
give
it.
you. Listen, I'll give you guys the animations after it's done. You could use it on whatever videos you want, man. It's all yours.
Hey,
Promise. We'll do some cool stuff if you guys want.
love
Wait,
it.
Zen,
Love
Zen and you guys haven't met? Zen and Ben? Sorry. There's another European friend of mine, Zen, also a streamer, super nice guy. I didn't know that you and Ben hadn't met. I thought you guys knew each other before. He also played a little bit of Lost Ark. He played Warframe. And he like Zen is like super nice guy, just one of the nicest dudes I've ever met on Twitch as well. So you guys
Hi, Zen.
would be, you guys are on the same timeline and everything. Yeah.
Love it.
So
Love it.
okay, yeah,
Zen
not
and
all
Ben.
British people know each other, but you might as well.
Zen and Ben, I like that.
Look, I'm American. We don't think about that stuff. We think about cheeseburgers and pizza. Okay,
Yeah,
I got a lot going on up here.
Right. It's literally just hit like 2.5 hours. So Skyy, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for sticking around for so long as well. Sometimes these podcasts just go on and on, bro. Because we will just chat away. So yeah, go get another video out. But yeah, bourbon. Yeah, we got some bourbon. We're getting. I nearly finished it. But cheers, guys. Appreciate the podcast. I've had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
Are you sticking around for a little bit, Ben?
I can if you want to.
Oh, I didn't know if you were streaming or what your plan was.
Oh, I mean, I've got a show starting tomorrow for 3 days, so I've got to get some stuff going. If you want to just chat for another 5 minutes or so, but
yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm gonna stay live, so if you guys want to chat in Discord and like do your thing, you're more than welcome to. I'll move to another channel if you want to do like the private talk or whatever you guys want to talk about. But I'm gonna I got Diablo to play for the next 8 hours, so.
Right, I'm going to send everyone to you then. I'm going to raid you. All right, guys, I appreciate you. We're going to raid DJ. Send you guys over, all right? So you can say hi to DJ. Thank you so much, Skyy. Thank you, DJ. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. My pleasure, man.
Awesome episode. That was really fun.
That was really good. Yeah, that was really good. All right. Peace out.
We'll see you later, Ben.
Enjoy the raid.